Okay, this is just to get it all done.
Yes.
I'll check if it's probably not possible. I'll just make sure.
Very good afternoon to everyone. And we are honored to have now the actors have joined us. So we'll start in a minute. Just let me ensure all have joined. So again, a very good afternoon to everyone, and thanks for joining for this event. The Idea-Phied, one of its kind event that we have launched for the IISER Mohali faculty, researchers, and students to give them the platform to present their creative thinking and ideas. And we are honored here to be joined by distinguished speakers from IIT Ropar, Dr. Pushpendra P. Singh. From IISER Pune, we have Ms. Shweta Uttam. From Punjab State Council of Technology, so from Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, we have Dr. Dapinder Kaur Bakshi. And now, in fact, I would officially ask Professor Gauri Shankar, the Director IISER Mohali, to officially inaugurate this event, wherein we have actually received an overwhelming response of more than 30 teams registration and more than 50 people participating overall for the event. And today is the final presentations, and then we'll seek the winners out of it. But more so, this activity's prime objective is to create the awareness about innovation-led entrepreneurship within the campus, and to have an engagement with the staff and students over here with respect to the incubation and entrepreneurship-led activities within the campus. So may I request Professor J. Gauri Shankar to please inspire us with his motivating words and his inspiring start of this event will surely help us to achieve our objectives. Sir, over to you, please.
Hello. Yeah, I hope I'm audible to all.
Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's a great pleasure for me to be associated with this event that has arisen out of the initiative of the iRise TBI at IISER Mohali. And I would in particular like to congratulate the team led by Mr. Satyender in organizing this. I understand that the students of IISER Mohali are also playing a very critical role in both organizing and as participants of the events for this afternoon. I noticed that that it's a very rich program, and I would particularly like to welcome on behalf of both IISER Mohali and its technology and its TBI, our expert participants, panelists, Dr. Pushpendra Singh and Dr. Ms. Shweta Uttam and Mr. Somveer Anand from the Mission Director of the Punjab Innovation Mission. I would also like to welcome our alumni and a speaker from the alumni, Dr. Batra, and Punjab State Council for Science and Technology head, Dr. Dapinder Kaur Bakshi, for today's event. The objective of this event is to stimulate innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives within this campus, and especially by our students, faculty, and staff. Not limited to them, but it would really be focused on them to a large extent. And the event is to attempt to provide a platform so that they can share their initial stage ideas, and also to make all our participants aware about the various programs and initiatives at TBI ISR Mohali, the startup ecosystem in this region, and the support that it provides for technology-based startups. Our students are, as you are all aware, are very competitively selected, and they have very strong acumen towards research and to utilize the same for developing products and technologies that can be commercialized. I'm delighted to know that a good number of teams, more than 25, have registered for today's event. And it's in a very interesting 1-minute presentation format, which I hope will at the same time be brief, but yet be exciting enough for all the participants to benefit from. The panelists and the committee that is involved in judging these presentations, again, I would like to express my thanks to them, and we all look forward to a very interesting afternoon. I will just conclude by saying that this is one of the many initiatives that the TBI and ISR Mohali are taking to build a strong science and research-based innovation culture within the institute. So with that, thank you, and over back to you, Satyendra.
Thank you, sir. And I'm sure with your such a kind, inspiring words, we are sure to achieve our objectives, which we are looking forward to. And now, since we have some time, we have scheduled the panel discussion 2:15, but we may start it early and utilize this time to get the inputs from our panelists. And now I would like to go ahead with our next event, which is the panel discussion with the experts of the startup ecosystem in this field. So, yes.
Can I just interrupt?
Yes,
Since we have a few minutes, if it is okay, we can request the panelists and our external experts to identify themselves and introduce themselves.
Definitely. Yes.
Because that will enable all of us to benefit from there.
Yes, in fact, yes, I was in fact about to introduce them, but yes, it's a good idea if they can also introduce themselves. But we have an eminent panelist list, like from the IIT Ropar, we have Dr. Pushpendra P. Singh, who is the principal investigator and project director of the iHub, Awadh Agriculture and Water Technology Development Hub, which is a technological innovation hub supported by DST, housed at IIT Ropar. So, Dr. Pushpendra, please, if you can also introduce yourself a little bit more for the benefit of all.
Oh, thank you very much. I must admit that I'm very privileged to be here, and particularly being welcomed by Professor Gauri Shankar, a true academician we have around us here in Chandigarh. As you said, that I'm leading this project on agriculture and water technology development. This is basically, though it sounds agriculture and water, but basically it's about developing cyber physical systems to ease the business of farming and anything that starts from seed to the dining table. So we are developing cyber physical systems at IIT Ropar, and the project is supported by Department of Science and Technology with a quantum of 110 crore. And this is what I do since last almost 2 years now. But otherwise, I teach physics at IIT Ropar and instrumentation. And I have some interest in cyber physical systems and electronic devices because of my training in instrumentation for nuclear physics and for also machine learning and AI. So these are few things which I always avoid, talking about that it's about machine learning and AI, but these days quite everybody is talking about it. So I sometimes say that we also uses and try to create the right kind of algorithms for, the experiments or the instrumentation that we do at IIT Ropar and in our international collaborations. So this is the short introduction, let's say, from my side. what we do and what we are doing in Agriculture Technology Development Hub, and all those who are listening here. And if they come across a startup which may be looking for, support in the domain of agriculture and water, I'm sure together with Aisha Mohali, we will be able to support them as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Pushpendra. Now I would like to introduce our another panelist, Ms. Shweta Uttam. She is the Chief Executive Officer for the incubator based out of IISER Pune, which is supported by Atal Innovation Mission. So Shweta, please.
Thank you, Satyendra, for giving me this opportunity. Professor Gauri Shankar, Director, IISER Mohali, Satyendra, CEO, TBI IISER Mohali, distinguished panel members. I'm very excited and it's a pleasure for me to be a part of this event Idea-Phied today. My name is Shweta Uttam. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Atal Incubation Center at IISER Pune. We are a Section 8 company and a not-for-profit entity. We are supported by the Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog Government of India, fully promoted by IISER Pune. And our aim is to support science-based startups based on research of the faculty members and students from within the campus, as well as we are open to supporting aspiring entrepreneurs from outside the campus also. But their startup has to have some science and R&D component. That is our aim. We realize the challenges faced by all entrepreneurs in general, but science-based startups, for them, the challenges are even more. And in this context, the role of an incubator is very important. I'm really excited and impressed by the number of participants you have, Satyendra, because we have been, we actually started our operations formally was 1 year back. And we know what a challenge it is to inspire our faculty members to take the lead, to leverage all the ecosystem offerings to set up science-based enterprises and take their research forward. So the number of participants you have, I'm very excited to look to hear their pitches and see what shared experiences we can turn together.
Thanks, thanks, Shweta. For sure, we are going to have an exciting session ahead. And I'm sure with our panel discussion and the inputs from the experts here, the students are going to learn a lot. Now, I would like to request Dr. Dapinder Kaur Bakshi. Her session we have scheduled in the evening also. She is the Joint Secretary at Punjab State Council for Science and Technology and heads the Research and Startup Facilitation Division in the organization. So, ma'am, please a few words.
Thank you, Satinder. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I would also like to thank Director Sir, Dr. Gauri Shankar. We are based at Punjab in the capacity of a Science and Technology Council, and it's a real pleasure to see the kind of programs which are being organized by IISER and TBI IISER Mohali. We have, in fact, joined hands in a number of programs which we have done with Satinder ji. And because we have a startup facilitation division in the council, and which caters to, to promote the tech-led startups for Punjab. So it's always a pleasure to, collaborate with IISER. The idea is not only to help startups understand about what kind of services we have or what kind of a support structure we have, but also to inspire them to such an extent that they are able to take up this endeavor. And we have got lots of initiatives, and one of the initiatives which is actually very close to our heart is a Skill Vigyan Center, which I will be taking up later. And under that, we have planned to have IISER as a node where we can invite the ideas and the support which is coming from the Government of India can be, channelized and can be directed to the startups or the students from IISER. So thank you for this opportunity, Satendra. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Pleasure is all ours, ma'am, to have you on board here. And yes, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology has always been supportive of our initiatives. And We're fortunate enough to organize events in collaboration with PSCST. Now, I would like to invite Nitika Khurana from Chandigarh Angels Network. She is the operations head, and she has been supporting the startups in raising funds through various investors and funding agencies. So I would request Nitika ji, if you can share a few words, introduce yourself in detail.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for having me. I think it's really a pleasure to contribute in whatever limited capacity we at CAN can do to support such innovative startups. So having been invested in around 30 startups in last few years and having been, create a corpus of around 15 CR for investing in these startups, I'm super excited, and I thank Satyendra ji for giving me the opportunity to evaluate these innovative startups. So although innovation is the base for these startups, but I do see a lot of potential in a lot of them to kind of commercially scale at a very large scale, and also kind of attract seed level investors to support them on their journey. So thank you for having me, and I would love to explore the startups and help them in raising funds with Chandigarh Angels Network. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nitika ji. And yes, looking forward to work with you for our incubated startups and in general as such. So now, along with these experts, we also have two successful startups as the panel members. One is Xmatic Technologies, and the CEO of Xmatic Technologies, Ms. Rashi Verma, is representing here in the panel. And she has been incubated in IRI and few other incubators and also in Digram Labs. And they have actually materialized the 2 cents of the topic which we have is like taking the technology from lab to the market. They have actually they did that thing successfully. So Rashi, please share a few words and introduce yourself in detail.
Thank you. Thank you, Satyendra, for this opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Govikrishnan, sir. So we are basically a startup, and we are based in New Delhi, and we started our organization in 2017, and we are basically doing smart irrigation and pest and disease management. So we are using technologies like AI, IoT, and satellite sensing to see what the condition of the farm and to take out the base analysis, how to detect these kind of stress and how to alert the farmers. So currently we are doing in Punjab and Bihar. These are the two states where we are currently doing. And we have almost 4,000 to 5,000 farmers in our platform who are taking these services. And we have a plan to do it pan-India, but still we are working out how to scale it up to pan-India. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Rashi. And the other startup that we have is Haldivita. They have developed a brand from scratch, and they are selling health-based immunity-enhancing food products. From there, and we have the director, Mr. Samir Gupta. So, Samir.
Thank you very much, Satyendra, and thank you, Dr. Gauri Shankar. It's a pleasure to be here. And let me just give you a brief background of myself. Basically, I'm a corporate person, a finance person. Worked as a CFO in HCL and CEO in a couple of other multinationals overseas. Came back to India, and I wanted to do something very different in life. And 35 years of experience, I wanted to put it on a platform so that I could build up some kind of an organization which has got a social impact. I mean, it had to be commercial because being a finance person, I know how important cash flows are. Without cash flows, nothing can sustain. And at the same time, it should create an impact socially, basically a social impact kind of a program. So we identified farmers with whom we can work in Chamoli area. We started working with them. We added value to their product. We identified a couple of turmerics and other things which can be grown. This was done after a lot of research, and we have been incubated in IIM Kashipur in NIFTEM, and they are supporting us in product development. And I'll talk more about it as we go along. Thank you.
Thanks, Samir. I understand you have just recovered from COVID and still you have joined, so that's great. Thank you very much. Another panelist like
Just a
Somi
correction. I'm still COVID positive, so I'm
Oh.
just lying in the bed and talking.
Oh, okay. So that shows your dedication towards this whole startup ecosystem and helping others. So that's great. In fact, we have another panelist, Mr. Somveer Anand, who is the Mission Director for Punjab Innovation Mission and also the co-founder of PinFresh. We would have liked, I mean, he would have liked to be here, but unfortunately, he is also not well. And just now, we got the message that he can't even talk. His throat is so bad. So let's continue with the panelist. If Professor Gauri Shankar, you have anything to add, or should we start with the panel discussion?
Yes, no, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, and thank you everyone for your brief introduction. I'm sure the audience here have got few insights about the expertise of our panelists here, and now they would know whom to approach if they need a certain kind of support. Having said that, coming back to a topic, which is taking the technologies from lab to the market, how we can transfer the innovations and the research happening in the laboratories or the research institutions to the market. So I would like to start the discussion with Dr. Pushpendra Singh's inputs, because he is the one who is actually doing it with IIT Ropar. He has developed few successful startups. He has had an experience of commercializing few technologies to a certain extent. So I would like to invite him first to share his experience about what kind of opportunities or maybe challenges they are facing while basically when they are talking about any technology transfer from an institute or an academic institute like IIT Ropar to the market.
Thank you, Satinji, for inviting me for the first speech. Sometime, is a complex task to start with, but I think it's nice because we are not talking something which we have to build, but we have to tell what we have been doing. So I think I will be able to give you pointers, which my colleagues here and on the panel discussion can, of course, elaborate a little more. What we learned, as you said, that we have been trying this. So what we learned at IIT Ropar, we divided the startups or the products, so to say, into two categories. One, and this is completely a non-professional, non-management, knowledge approach that we have taken. So as you know, I'm a faculty of physics and instrumentation, and I have absolutely no idea how the business or the management goes. But since I'm an experimentalist and I have done all, experiments since I started my master degree till now and managed mega projects, including one mega project where India has even contributed 36 million euros. What I'm trying to say here is that I borrowed the experience from there and tried to implement the same thing at IIT Ropar. And how we did it, we divided into two, where scalability is not a problem. And the products, what we want to develop, where scalability is an issue. For example, when you go for hardware, any hardware development, it's not an easy task. Like Rasi was explaining the startup, when you talk about sensor systems, even you devise a small IoT system, you have to take care of the entire supply chain. And then when you develop something, now before you go to the supply chain, as you said, idea to market. Now, idea is there. There is a system that is working on table because you plugged in quite everything which is needed. Then you have to see what is the robustness that is required in the system. Suppose you are building something for agriculture. Now, this system is not going to sit in the air conditioning rooms. This will go to the field, right? So it should be very robust. And secondly, the kind of market you are targeting. These are the people who are not scientists. These are the people who has very bare minimum knowledge of technology. So on table or in the lab, you have standard operating procedures. You have everything, you have the manual, you can read it, you have qualified people who can understand what is what, and you can operate the system. But when you send it to the real user, this is not the scenario. So this is where, what approach we have followed. We followed the approach which we learned from ourselves. For example, my grandmother, when I give her iPhone, she is able to operate. No problem. She has those little icons. She just click. If she want to call me, she click my photograph and good to go. So can we make the technology that we are making easy and simple enough that anybody can use it? So this was our first approach. Let's say from idea to building it to the what we call TRL4 is not an issue. But taking from TRL4 to TRL9 and take it as per the user's experience is something that we have to take care of. So this one thing we learned. So I'm only telling you what we learned at IIT Roper in this time. The other thing that we have learned that is also derived from an experience. Actually, when we were expecting my son, my wife was expecting, that time we were consulting doctors in Chandigarh. So and then we got very friendly with one doctor. I will not take name, otherwise it will be, advertisement of her. So she said that, Pushpendra, and my wife's name is Silpi. So she said that every pregnancy is different. You should not read books about it. Rather, you should follow what is happening. So all what I'm trying to say here is that when we talk about the startups, when you talk about an idea, it is very similar to that. This is what I have learned since then to now. There is a book somebody has written maybe 10 years back, sitting in California. Now you are building a startup or you are building an idea for maybe Punjab. Now the scenario here is different. The person who wrote the book 10 years back, he had some experiences 50 years back. Now the word of startup had changed in last 10 years, in that case 50 effective years, a lot. So whatever experience that person had, these experiences are only going to create a consciousness which is not required for a startup. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, or to colleagues who are sitting here, that don't be so much conscious about if I do this, then this will happen. If I do this, then this will happen. If you have an idea, just start working on it with full determination. That's what I wanted to say. So these book things, and the one thing that I learned recently, talking to our graduates here. So everybody want to, for some reason, and this is again related to how we perceive the very idea of business. Again, the experience that I have. So all the students you talk, they say, sir, basement mil jayega, then it is okay. I said, what do you mean by basement mil jayega? Because the problem here is different. The problem here is that everybody is thinking that those 4 or 5 big companies who are running today, they actually started in basement. Right? So what I'm all trying to say is that from idea to market, you have an idea, build it, chase it. There is no recipe. This is exactly like you make a movie. You have seen the very great stars with a lot of budget, and the movies are not doing at all anything. Saturday, nobody goes to the theater. You have the best of the best star from the country. So what I'm trying to say here is that the idea should be good enough to be taken by the people. And this is where that typical gap analysis also doesn't work. So we have this typical thought process that, okay, this thing is not available, so I will build it. Now, a lot of things came. One example quickly I want to give here, that from the stove, that kerosene stove that we had, at least I have used it. Many young people have not used here. And then between that kerosene stove and the gas stove that we have today, there was another stove in between. And it was with 32 stripes, cotton stripes, or 40 cotton stripes. And it was really, really a marvelous product. Beautiful design and very good. But we don't see it anywhere. At least that pump stove we see somewhere in Himachal, where you stop on some small shops. So what I'm trying to say, even though there is a gap, even though the product is good, sometimes it may not work. So you have to tweak. So idea to market has multiple steps. There is absolutely no copy, but user experience is extremely important. So here, what is important, in my opinion, is understanding for whom you are making the product and understanding what their requirements are. And this is how the thing will go, and then taking care of the entire supply chain. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Pushpen. So I can, there are many takeaways from your talk, but yeah, basically the two major points which I can think I could relate to is, one is obviously customer insights. One need to really understand the customer and how they want to use the technology, or they would use the technology. And secondly, every startup case is different, which goes through multiple stages, and maybe one has to adapt accordingly with respect to technology, with respect to operations and other things. Now, with an engineering-based institute I'll go to science-based institute, to IISER Pune, and want to, like Shweta, to add on to it, what is the one thing or few things which is actually stopping IISER institutes as such, or science-based institute, to match up to the level of innovation and startup that we see in the engineering institutes or other such similar institutes?
Thank you, Satendra. To add to what Dr. Pushpendra said, I would also like to, apart from the IISER experience, I would like to dwell upon some experience that I had earlier working with the Technology Transfer Office of CSR National Chemical Laboratory, where I was leading the efforts. So there we had, for R&D commercialization, different models. Different models in the sense, like there are different means by which you can take your innovations from the lab to the market. And these are, these are models like collaborative research involving an industrial partner. It could be just licensing the IP or the technology backed by a IP, or even without the IP, as the case may be. Or it could be a consultancy project within industry. But the experience was that these models had certain limitations, in the sense they were dependent on the other party. Like the industrial partner, if they are interested in taking it further based on their business goals or based on the economic environment. So it may happen that a researcher works on something very innovative, and that idea never sees the light of the day because the technology, although it has been transferred to an industrial partner, it didn't fit with their business goals. So now we are shifting to the new business model, that is, don't completely rely on the external partner, but explore the option of building your own startup. That way the inventor is involved. As you know, the parent is, of course, in the growth of a child, as Dr. Pushpendra also gave the same example, the startup is like a baby. So in the growth of the baby, there are different people involved, but there are teachers, friends, different mentors, but the role of a parent is first and foremost. The parent is in the initial stages, is very, very involved and ensures that the child gets the proper inputs, nutrition, whatever. So similarly for the startup, in the initial stages, it's very important for the inventor to be involved. Now, as Satendra was saying, that why do we see so much of restriction in the mindset, some risk averseness from researchers from science-based institutes as compared to engineering? So in engineering institutes, I myself am a chemical engineer. I know the kind of thought process we had was, you're given a problem, the problem solving approach, you just have to find a solution for it, given what are the resources. All engineers, they know in the limited time, they just 1 month before the exams, they are, they prepare well and they crash their exams, like, MBA, those kind of skills. But science-based research is a long drawn process, day by day. They're working on their PhD, the sweat and toil, they see the experiment, the results, they might have to, if it's not meeting their hypothesis, make changes, iterate. It's a long drawn process, lot of sweat and toil. But having said that, it's very important for science-based startups to see the light of the day. That is because the kind of problems that they work on, nobody else can work on. They will work, science-based startups are not going to make only apps and aggregator platforms. They are going to work on problems of global magnitude, like degrading plastics from the oceans or antimicrobial resistance. So those kind of solutions, the world is looking only from science-based institutions like ICERS, for example. And so the researchers must rise up to the occasion. Although the challenges are many, but there's a bright side also. Because these problems of such huge magnitude, industrial players will not focus on them. So we must, we must inculcate that interest. Recently, just last week, I had the opportunity to listen to Professor Bob Langer, who is like the Edison of medicine now in the world today. He's the highest level of scientist. So he has, 40 startups, 300 patents, 1,400 most cited publications. He shared some of very insightful and very inspiring lessons which all researchers can learn from without compromising on their research and scientific goals. That is that you work initially itself, you work on a technology or an area where it has kind of generic applications, or which is a platform technology. Science-based startups should be mentally prepared that there's going to be a gestation time of, say, even up to 10 years. So, if you work on something which has generic applications, then your potential end users or people, market segments that you will get, those chances will be higher. You have to be prepared that at every stage you might have to raise funds. So that way, if you have a generic technology, you can license it out to multiple industrial players, build up, for sustenance kind of thing. So first, he said that first you should patent, then you should also publish. Publishing is important, not only in high impact factor journals, but even in other business and commercial media, such that the industrial people, they are aware that here's a path-breaking technology. And when you choose a problem to work on, researchers must see that there has to be a market for it. There has to be potential end users. So, and preferably try to go outside your research area, meet people who are from different domains, so that you know which are the problems, industrially relevant problems, where you can apply the learnings from your lab. It's in this context, it's nice to meet mentors and people outside your domain area, outside your research area. And for that, we should leverage ecosystems like incubators. So that's something which I wanted to share.
Thanks, Shweta. And you have actually talked about the key issues with the researchers or the science-based students, specifically who work on their project for quite some time, that they are so engrossed in their project work or research that they tend to forget few other aspects of commercializing the technology, which include understanding the market as well as networking or taking their idea to the outside world. So thanks for your input, Shweta. And now I would like to invite Nitika from Chandigarh Angels Network to understand, like, what is that thing which investors look for, specifically research and science-based startups, because these are the startups which would have high gestation period. So they may not show you market tractions, they may not be able to tell you the exact business side or the revenue side of it, but they may be some path-breaking, on the verge of making some path-breaking products or research. So most of the time, they are dependent on government grants initially before going to the investors. But is there some way where investors, are there some investors, or is there an ecosystem which can help these startups at these stages?
Yeah, thank you, Satyendra. So I'm completely, I'm going to second both Dr. Pushpendra and Shweta on the point. What is happening, where the gap is so we do witness a lot of innovation startups coming to us, pitching and, expecting fundraise. And these innovators have amazing background. They have outstanding ideas. The only point where they lack is that they are so much married to the idea. They are so much married to the solution they are building on. Sometimes they tend to forget that they need to understand that whether there is market for the product they are building or not, whether the features they are trying to put in their, innovation journey, is it actually needed? So, both of them, as they mentioned that, there has to be a target market and there has to be a validation. So every time I meet such startups, my suggestion to them is always that I agree that the gestation period is long. I agree that sometimes it's really difficult to show traction. But trust me, unless you have even 5 paying customers for your product, it is very, very difficult to convince an investor that you are ready for the market or you are ready to commercialize the product. So I always suggest them, doesn't matter if your product, because sometimes, they're working on such huge machines that it's really difficult for them to kind of, justify commercialization in front of the investors. They need funds. Sometimes grants don't come in place. So I do agree. But unless you have potential customers who are using it, unless there is a testimonial which says, yes, we need the product, unless there are people from the industry who are vouching for you, even with one pilot project, it will be very, very difficult for investor to understand the commercial viability of the innovation. So every time, I'm trying to mentor or guide such startups, and I will, that's my point of suggestion from seed investor or angel investor. Let's be very honest. Investors are there to make money. Investors are there to get returns. And in this, in this zone where we are right now, where there is so much hype about investments, it's the good time to raise funds. Just that, be very specific. Be very specific about doing the market validation at the right stage. Be very specific about having paying customers. Even if they are limited in numbers, doesn't matter, but have paying customers before you come in front of the investors and before you show them the possibility of raising funds or possibility of taking it to the commercial level. So that's my suggestion for all the innovators who are trying to, raise funds or who are even planning to feel that, it's the right time to go into the market. So 2 things, market validation, and second, paying customers, for sure.
Okay, so I understand it's actually paramount to have the market traction or some proof of concept from the market itself for technology or product before going to investors. Okay, now thinking from that, I would like to go back to the startup, Rashi from Xmatic. Maybe you can tell us, Rashi, considering the things we have discussed right now, within the current setup, what are the challenges you have faced and how you have overcame with yours? Because your experience can actually be very helpful for the budding startups who have joined us today, or the people who are planning to get into entrepreneurship, like how they can get the support, how they can overcome the challenges they would face, specifically with technology-based startups, and how they should be prepared financially or mentally otherwise.
Right. So yes, so we are also the first generation startup. So we started in 2017. We didn't have knowledge about the IoTs and many other things also. We didn't know where to pilot and where to start our journey. So when we started, we made a very small prototype, and which was working, but it was not, we couldn't take it to the ground or something. So we started working with 3D design and all. But the major challenge which we found, which we were going through, was the pilot place, where we need to actually put the our product and how we can do the pilot. So we did a lot of struggle to get a field also. We approached few of the farmers also, but it was our product was basically related to the pump, and it was a ground sensor. So mainly farmers were not interested to actually start working with those controllers and all. It might burn or something. So it was very difficult to actually convince them that it will work fine and nothing will happen. And if something will happen, that we will take care of that. So at that point, it was very difficult to convince that. But somehow after a lot of struggle, we got the field. So the major challenge for IoT kind of startup who are like working on this field, so it's very important for them to get a feel and to test the machine on the ground. So it's not, so our product also had LoRa, so we had to test the range also. right? So till the sensors are relaying the data to the LoRa, so how far the range is. So a lot of things we have to test. So it takes around 6 months, maybe 1 year to test your these products. So it was that time also we had to face a lot of difficulties in doing that. And but somehow just by going through the journey, like we got Indigram into our platform. They are incubated as they provide some of their networks. We went to them, and then the journey started, and then we tried to get the help from there, and somehow we were able to do all these kind of stuff. So then we got incubated in IRI also. There from there we tried to validate our product, and in FOSU we approached sir, Dr. Manoj sir, and then he did a trial of our product, and somehow from there we got the validation certificate also. So it's actually for an IoT kind of company, it's important to get the validation. That's true. When you are like putting something on the farm in agriculture area, it's important to get the validation. So first, the validation that we got from IRI was also a breakthrough for our journey. So this all, I think all the startups who are working in this kind of domain, they will have to face this kind of challenge, right? To get a pilot place, to get the product validated. So these were the challenge. The other challenge, if you talk about when you start building your product, so from where the vendors, another problem starts with the vendor, the PCB that you have to build, the PCB, from where you will get these PCB. The components that you get are not very genuine sometimes, it's burned. So a lot of money has to be invested in that also to bring the product online and to bring something on ground which is like workable, right? And it doesn't burn out, it doesn't get like bad due to bad weathers or rain or something. So a lot of things has to be there when you start these things. So these are also the challenges that a startup has to face in in manufacturing division when they have, right? But but these challenges, once you start working on it, it takes time for our kind of startup, but it takes time. But it get resolved as you get to the industries, as you have make more networks and all. So that I would say.
Thanks, Rashi. But I want to get into a very basic thing. What made you to enter into the entrepreneurship? What is that motivation, or what that idea that clicked you, or you're already working on the project? What was that?
Yeah, so no, I was not working kind of projects, any project, but I was involved with farming, and that way back like 10-12 years back, and we used to do farming with my father. So I used to have a small ground, and I was very much connected to my village, I would like to say. So I have seen the farmers like problems and very closely. So after doing my master's in computer applications and like working in corporate for almost 12 years, I wanted to bring something, means technology into agriculture, which can ease their farming. So that's what motivated me to do.
Fine. Thanks, Rashi. I'm sure your talk will inspire the audience here to get into entrepreneurship. Now, Pradmir, I know you're not keeping well now also, but still, if you can share your story and
Sure.
exactly the same question. What motivated you to enter into entrepreneurship after having a successful stint in the corporate, and challenges and support that you've got in the ecosystem?
Definitely, Satyendra. I mean, here I would like to mention, when I came back to India after staying abroad for about 15, 16 years, I was heavily diabetic. I was basically consulting, all these startups. I was arranging funding for them. And I was also helping some other startups to build up their marketing if they wanted to establish something overseas, like in Europe or Middle East. So while I was doing all that, I was heavily diabetic because of my lifestyle. When I was overseas, like we used to travel all the time, different food habits, different time zones, and not keeping, to proper schedule. So because of this diabetes and high cholesterol, I mean, I was popping medicines, and Then I met a person who was doing his PhD in Ayurveda, and especially, to be more specific, in turmeric. So then he suggested to me a very, very specific kind of turmeric, which is called Swarna turmeric, which is grown only in Chamoli and, in adjoining areas. He told me, Samir, why don't you have this? And as you all must be aware of, turmeric per se is not bioavailable. So in order to make it bioavailable, there is a technique behind it. Now, there are certain ingredients which have to be added of a particular quality in a particular proportion, and there's a little bit of processing that gets involved. So I had that for 9 months, and I found that suddenly, like I managed to reverse my diabetes. My medicines got tapered off. My cholesterol became normal, and that was the time when I became very serious about the product. Of course, there were certain other things also which I had to do, like pranayam and avoid food with preservative. But that was the time when I got serious about this product, and we started researching on it. Now, I'll deviate a little bit here. When we started this company, uh, we wanted, some kind of a help, because I was from a commercial background. My co-founder, Ankit, who's much, much younger to me, he's from a mechanical engineering background. And both of us had never had any, opportunity or any past experience in the field of agriculture or Ayurveda. Now, that was a time when we needed some kind of a help. So, I mean, we approached several institutions, we approached several people who could help us out, but we could never get the right kind of a platform. So finally, we had to take the help of my own friend who was doing PhD in Ayurveda, and he kind of connected us to a lab where we actually went there, we put the ingredients, we found out the nutritional value of the ingredients, we did a lot of research on the papers which were available overseas and in India on various, these ingredients, and then we compiled them. We got hold of some Ayurvedic doctors, but all this was done in a very informal way. So I can definitely guarantee one thing: there's a lot of work which has gone into it, and it's very authentic. But that authenticity really doesn't matter unless and until there is a stamp put by one of the agencies, or there is by a hospital or by some government agency. It doesn't have any value. People say, who are you? What research? Why should we believe you? Why should we trust you? So whenever any innovation happens, there has to be two sides to it. One is like, something gets innovated, that has to be taken to the market. The second is something which has already gone into the market because of the belief and because of the informal studies which have been done. How to improvise on that and how to authenticate it. There also we need a lot of support from institutions. Like I would definitely say that NEFTM has been of great support. IIM Kashipur, where we are incubated, has been of extreme support to us. I mean, there were several professors there, and who put us in touch with the right people because they had the network. So that's how we started building on it. And 2 years later, now we have got several products. So we are coming out with curcumin shots, we are coming out with ginger shots, we are already there with Ayurvedic cookies, we are there with Ayurvedic herbal tea, herbal and spice tea, and we are there with, of course, Haldivita, which is a product. So it has to have both the sides. Not only the innovation has to be developed in the labs and it has to be commercialized, but whatever the commercial items are available, how to improvise on that in terms of product, in terms of packaging, in terms of their longevity, in terms of the shelf life, that also has to be considered. And that there also the institute should come forward and help the startups to create a platform so that they can establish themselves in a much better way, and people also are more aware of the products. Thanks. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Samir. So, in fact, I mean, by the experience of both Rashi and you, I could easily interpret that the startups or innovators need to prepare for a proper market research, getting into the technology thing in detail, and need to be well prepared, doing their homework well before going to the market. Also, technology validation is quite important for any kind of innovation to be accepted in the market. Samir, I just wanted to like to add a few more points on the marketing and the branding side, because that's where your brand has excelled, and that's where most of the innovations fail. So probably if you can just quickly tell 2-3 points which startups need to consider or innovators need to consider with respect to the effective marketing of their product.
Satendra, when we decided to come out in the market, that was way back in much before COVID happened. This was way back in 2018 January. We had formulated the product, we tested it out, and then we hired one of the marketing agencies. It was a Pune-based agency, and we did a small sample survey in about 7-8 different cities. Again, to give you an example, what we did initially was, we came out with Haldivita coconut flavored. Now, we were very excited. I said, this is just the right taste. And when we tasted, everybody who tasted it, they said, wow, what a fantastic product. But when we actually did the market survey, and we approached about 7-8 different cities, we found that the habits of the people were different, even within the same age group. Their requirements were different, their aspirations were different. Now, finally, we had to come down. We said, okay, if we are going to come out with coconut product, this will be popular in A, B, C pocket, but it's not going to be popular in B, C, D, E, F, or whatever. And in some of the cities, it's not going to be acceptable at all. Then you have to compile all the data. And then you have to see whether it's going to work out or not. Emotions matter. Emotion gives you a direction, but it should not be a decision maker. Just because I like coconut flavor, it should not become my decision maker. There has to be a scientific approach to it. That's the first part. So then finally we boiled down to elaichi pista, we boiled down to sugar free, we boiled down to coconut chocolate. So, we came down with different flavors, which were far more acceptable in the market and which did extremely well. Now, the second point was, how do we create a brand? Now, that was also a very tedious exercise. I was always in IT industry. I was in HCL. I was in Bhavan Cybertech and a couple of other companies. And I had no idea what this animal FMCG is and how do you manage it? How do you tame it? It was a very, very different kind of an animal. So, despite the fact I was 56, 57 when I started this company, I had 35 years of experience, but still I needed a mentor. I wanted somebody who is right into the market, who understands what marketing is all about, who comes from an FMCG background. Fortunately, by the grace of God, I'll say I came across a gentleman who was a global director of one of the largest multinationals in the world based out of UK. He's an Indian, settled there. And I wouldn't like to name him right now because it's again a tantamount to publicity or talking about a person. So, he was a person, I had a discussion with him. And that was the first time it struck me, yes, this is the kind of guidance I need. And before that, I must have spoken to at least 10 or 15 different guys. But somehow they didn't appeal to me. They said it's more gyan. It's not practical. Too much of gyan, too much of academic also doesn't tell. Market doesn't react to it. You need some practicality behind it. So people were very good at, that even I could do reading net or reading, different books and all. But what I needed was a practical approach. And somebody who could tell me, Samir, don't be stupid. You are not going to do this. If you do this, it's not going to work out. Or you want to try it out, and then I'll tell you what needs to be done. I wanted somebody who could tell me directly on my face. And I took it. And me and Ankit, my co-founder, both of us clinged on to him. And he was the guy who helped me in developing the brand. What to do, how to name it. It can be a full, how we change the logo, how we change the marketing strategy, how we change the packaging of the bottle, how did we change, the length, size, height of the bottle. I think Satyendra has got a little bit of an idea about what we have done in the past. So, we had to go through that exercise over 6 months. So it is not something like ABC, you do it and your brand is established. It's a journey. You start, you take a step, you walk faster, then you start running with it. And suddenly you find you're fatigued. You have to stop, take a bottle of glucose, and then again move on, again start running. It's something like that. And every day we think of how do we improvise on a brand? What better can we do on the label? How better we can send the message across in the market? If this message is causing fatigue, people are tired of listening to the same message. Do we need to change it, etc., etc.?
Thanks, Samir. So the key takeaway could be is to get the right expert in the team, and we need to we need to think marketing as an important exercise as a product development, and need to be obviously change and be dynamic as per the market environment. So though I would like to continue this panel discussion further and know further views of all the panelists here, but unfortunately time is not permitting that. Probably next time we can have a longer discussion on this topic. So I'll just ask my panelists to finally, maybe in a sentence or 20 seconds, they want to conclude or some last minute advice for our startups and researchers. So I'll start with Dr. Pushpendra.
Yeah, I think as I also started saying that there is no quick advice to it, and I was hearing Samir, you have to really work on it. When you get tired, redo it, reinvent yourself. I think this is the advice probably I will also put in and copied in many ways from Samir. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Pushpendra. Yes, Shweta.
Yeah, I won't take much time because we are all eagerly waiting to hear the pitches. But only one last minute advice for all researchers or aspiring entrepreneurs, that now the government has simplified procedures for researchers from academic institutions, and also for patenting, they have reduced the fees for academic institutions. It's like startups or individuals. So please go ahead, be creative, think of good ideas, and don't worry about the cost. It's academic institutions, cost for filing is as good as individuals. So please leverage that opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Shweta. Nitika?
Yeah. So just 2 lines I would like to summarize this. One, obviously, as I mentioned, that while we are approaching investors, instead of wasting time and kind of getting a little demotivated with the same input over and over again, just focus on the good business model, marketing plan, and paying customers if possible. That's a plus. Secondly, as we do understand that sometimes innovators are innovators, right? They do not have that kind of inclination towards marketing. They don't understand that much, business to the core, because that's not their strength. Innovation is that their strength. So just this thought came to my mind that nowadays there are so many corporates who are starting, sort of co-investment initiatives, and corporate incubators are coming up because they are good at marketing. They have huge network, but they don't have innovators who can, work on some amazing ideas for them. And these people want to be on the top always. So they are trying to bring in this talent. They are trying to, they say, you know what? Innovation is yours, idea is yours, rest everything, leave it to us. So I would suggest, if there are certain innovators who feel that they don't understand the marketing side of it, please feel free to explore the industry options across India, and feel free to take the support. Work on your strengths rather than just spreading out everywhere. Just work on your strengths, what you are good at. So that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Rashi, quickly.
Sure. So I would like to say, if something doesn't work out, or if you are having issue, so pivot yourself, keep pivoting, but do not lose hope. That's what I will say to the startups. So all the best.
Thanks, Rashi. And finally, Samir, we'll concluding with you.
Yeah, all I would like to say is keep improvising, not only on your product, but also on the marketing. And when you want to improvise on your product, packaging, or the look, feel, then these institutions are extremely helpful. Catch hold of the right institution, meet the right professor, meet the right person, take his advice, and move on.
Right. Thanks, Samir, and thanks everyone for your inputs and time. I'm sure the audience here and the participants here must have learned a bit or two about the entrepreneurship, innovation, and about technology commercialization, or successful startups in general. But if they want further details and further info, Technology Business Incubator IISER Mohali is always there to support you guys. With this, we'll go to the final presentations by our participants or the registered team for the Idea-Phied competition. I would request evaluators to open their spreadsheets, Google spreadsheets, where they can give the marks in their respective Excel sheets. So, and also I would request participants to stick to 1 minute, strictly to 1 minute, because of paucity of time, we cannot extend the time for any of the participants. So please stick to 1 minute, and then we'll have 1 minute for question answers before moving to the next one. So we'll share the presentation for our end. So I'll ask the first team ARC, to present.
So good afternoon, this is Team ARC and my partner is Akash Verma. He's my batchmate. So basically, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So our core idea is to build a home delivery app, which is quick, efficient, and provides doorstep service. Can you switch on to the next slide? Yeah. And the app will work by detecting nearby shops, and thus customers will have access to every locally available item from medicines, groceries to clothing and footwear. This app would also be beneficial during COVID, as people won't have to get out of their houses to buy goods, and we can save the local retail shops from dying out too. And the local shop owners will upload the products they have under appropriate sections in the app, and a person can visit his or her desired category, select, and can get their item delivered on his or her doorstep within minutes. And we can also introduce a trial option in case of clothing and footwear, in which people can actually try out the selected online items in their homes, just like they do it in regular clothing and footwear shops. Thus, this app will also provide personal service, as we won't have to get to the market, and rather we can bring the market home. That's basically it.
And member questions?
Okay, quickly. Do you have which place are you talking about while working on this idea? Where will you implement this first?
We can implement basically in small towns, because like in Himachal we don't have access to big basket and stuff, and we can start from small towns and then gradually work towards maybe bigger towns also.
Yeah, just one suggestion. There are a lot of players working in a similar direction. My suggestion to you would be try to come out with a differentiator. As far as you will focus on one single city, it will be easier for you to implement this. But then moving to other geographical locations is a bit challenging. So just work on your market validation and the requirement, and try to understand the pain points before implementing such model. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Team ARC. Evaluators, please give the marks. And now we are moving to RESTCon. The next team is RESTCon. Ayush Kumar and Anish Kumar Jha, you can directly go to your idea. You need not to introduce yourself.
Okay, so sure. So we have made a food recommendation system, and why food recommendation and why do we need that? So we will see this in next slide. So there are following problems that I and Ayush had faced in many situations. And first one is that we are often confused what to eat when we go to the market. We are often confused about the prices. Is it affordable or not? And the restaurants which restaurants will best suit for us. And we are mostly concerned about our health, because some of us have diabetes and various type of disease, and some of us want to remain fit. So I want to know about the various type of the nutrients, the calories, and the fat intake, and all these things in the normal restaurant food. So these are the problems that we want to work on. And next slide, please. Yeah. So what we have decided is that we will create a machine learning model for the food recommendation system, which will be based on it will recommend them dish, and it will cluster them on some group of people. And if any one of them likes the recommended dish, it will recommend it to other of the same cluster.
While your time is up, so let's go to question answers. We already have solution in front of us. So
okay, sure.
Okay, I think we understood your idea. There are no questions from the evaluators. So we'll go to the next one. Next one is Kanish Toma future of Earth.
Hello, I am Kanish Tomar from MS21. Can you please change the slide? So I welcome you to the future of Earth. That is actually the future of energy. So we as a civilization, humans, so any civilization in the universe is the advancement of civilizations is measured in terms of the consumption of power. So we welcome you to the new era of energy. We have designed a satellite. There's basically a Dyson sphere which will revolve around the sun. So it is actually not a sphere. It will be there will be a lot of satellites in a hexagonal shape which will be revolving around the sun and pointing the total energy on a space station that will be situated in the space revolving around sun. And today, right now, we are using even less than 0.01% of the sun's energy. But if we have the vision to utilize the 100% energy of sun, but even if we utilize the 1%, we will be it will be a revolutionary step in the history of mankind, and we can become interstellar. We can visit different stars and as well. Thank
you. Yes, famous. Any questions do we have?
Ganesh, this seems to be very interesting. Rajiv Goel, this side. So the energy that you will harness from the sun, where you will direct that energy? You will provide that energy to whom?
Sir, it will be solar connectors, which will be on the space station in the around this Earth that will be projected towards that, and we will convert that energy in the usable form, anyone like electrical or any energy.
No, that means on the Earth, let us suppose a household can use that energy, industry can use that energy. Who will use that energy?
Sir, it will be restricted. Like first, we will direct to that the space station. Then we will convert and then transport that energy to different countries, and like the system we have today, it will be distributed to household, and mostly it will be used for the interstellar distances.
But then how will you transport that energy?
Sir, in the form of radiations.
Okay, so that sounds very interesting. Have you already designed something or just a hypothetical concept?
These are all ideas. These are all ideas.
Yeah. Okay, all right, understood. That's it from my side.
Yeah. Fine. So we'll move to the next one. So which is black bins, team black bins.
Yeah, hi everyone. I present to you black bins, a solution to non-biodegradable waste disposal by using black hole dustbins. Please change the slide. Yeah. First of all, let's understand the problem of non-biodegradable waste disposal. Non-biodegradable waste are the kind of waste that cannot be properly disposed, reused, or recycled and cause adverse effects to the health of organisms, including humans and the plant itself. There's a huge amount of non-biodegradable waste that is generated every year. Thus, to solve this problem, I have come up with the idea of using artificial black holes as dustbins. As we all know, black holes have such extreme high amount of gravitational field that they are able to break down matter into its most fundamental particles. This will prevent the waste from going into the environment and harming it. I think black hole dustbins will be the future of waste disposal and will help our planet in sustainable development and prolonging the life of our planet as well as humanity. Thank you.
Yeah, questions, please.
How will you transport your stuff to the black hole?
Yeah, so our plan is to create artificial black holes like landfills. For example, there's a huge landfill where you dump your waste. So we can create a huge black hole where we can dump all the biodegradable waste that is collected. This way, the waste will not go into the environment. Instead, it will go into the black holes.
So I didn't get what is black hole here.
So the black hole is basically a form of very high energy, which has very high gravitational field. Black holes can disintegrate any matter into very fundamental particles.
Will it be like huge incinerators?
Yeah, but the thing is that what incinerators do is they burn the matter and go it into the air. Instead, black holes will disintegrate it into itself. The matter will not be able to escape.
What will you use to disintegrate it for the disintegration process? Will it be microorganisms? Will it be energy?
No, sir, actually the Israel Institute of Technologies are already working on creating artificial black holes. What they do is they supercool rubidium atoms and run them at super high speeds to create the gravitational field. This gravitational field will break the particles, will break the matter into subatomic particles. These subatomic particles will remain inside the field.
Understood. Understood.
Fine. Thanks. So let's go to the next one. Next one is piezoelectricity. Aman Sani.
So next slide. In every corner of the world are humans. 8 billion of us. Population explosion, increasing demand, and the problem, limited and depleting resources. Need of the hour is sustainable alternatives. And here I am with piezoelectricity as the future of energy. So chemistry behind it works such that when pressure is applied on certain crystals, lacking center of symmetry, they distort, creating temporary dipoles leading to electrical energy. Today, I had 3 ideas that have real-life applications. First, piezoelectric public pathways, roads, stairs. Second, piezoelectric automobile tires. Third, piezoelectrifying sports. This energy can be used to light street lamps, run scoreboards, or can be stored. Lastly, fossils will get exhausted. Sun and wind are unpredictable, but man can never stop moving, literally. So why not to harvest this abundant mechanical energy through a zero byproduct and minimal waste technology that is piezoelectricity? Thank you.
Members, questions, please. Okay, so I think we don't have any questions for this, so we'll go to the next one. Thanks, Aman.
Thank you.
Mobilo Solaris, or the team Solaris, yeah?
Can I just forward it? Excuse me. Yeah, so my name is Mohammed Kazim, and today I'll be presenting a concept. So you might have seen these situations like where you may have in similar situations, or like you need to carry a portable charger, or you return to home and discover you were on low on charge. So and rush like to find a charging port, right? So what if I told you that you could have a charger on the move, like without having to bother about the portable charger or the port? Like the name suggests, it's something related to solar power. So it's a solar mobile charger. So you may be thinking this unpleasant situation, like in which the panels are integrated into the rear of the mobile phone. No, it's actually not like that. It's using this technology, transparent solar panels, you can charge your mobile phones wherever you go. Even on the indoor lights, you don't have to keep your mobiles on on the sunlight. So this way you can using this you can achieve you can change your mobile screens, or you can integrate it into your screen covers and all. So this way you can also minimize the carbon emission. That's it. Thank you.
Questions, please.
I have a question. So, Mohammed, so solar mobile chargers are already available in the market. So, how is your technology different from that?
This is actually, ma'am, it's a this is actually a transparent solar panel, because actually it works is that it's transparent luminescent solar contractors. What happens here, it is composed of organic salts that absorb infrared rays or ultraviolet rays from the sun, or any light. When these organic salts absorbs these kinds of light, they shine, and this luminescent wave is redirected to the photovoltaic strips on the sides of the panel, and which generates electricity. So it's completely transparent. Currently researchers are working on making it 90% transparency, but currently it's only 70% transparency has been achieved.
Okay, thanks.
Fine, thank you. Now let's move next one, which is Team Analytics by Kaushik Gupta.
So hello everyone. So as we know that there has been a tremendous progress in technology, the local businesses or startups hasn't been very successful in adopting these. So I would like to pitch an idea to create a machine learning model to help them in their data analytics. Let's say a company wants to do customer segmentations based on different clusters, based on their purchasing or spending habits, their geographical region. Based on this analysis, they will get to know their target populations, which help in their business evaluation, and they can focus more specifically on their product or services. We can design a model that inputs this data and outputs the clusters of these customers. The model will use a k-means clustering machine learning algorithm and its modified version. And along with the previous model, next please. We can also add the power of supervised machine learning. We can get lots of data to train our model and let the company predict their future evaluations based on real-time analysis and past performances. We can also do the instant modifications in the data set based on the change in user preferences. This complete package will help these local startups to compete with this leading company, and they will eventually grow up. So I hope you like my idea. Thank you.
Evaluators, questions, please.
Isn't this already being sort of used by many big corporates?
Actually, sir, this is being used in the multinational companies. The local businesses and startups are completely unaware of it. I don't think that you go to a market and you find someone using a model for their future evaluation and all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go to the next one. Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Siddhi Agarwal, yeah, please.
Hello, everyone. So as we know, the smog air clocking India cities often contains dangerously high levels of fine particulate matter known as PM2.5. Next slide, please. These pollutants have linked to lung and heart diseases and are known to impair cognitive functions and immune system. PM2.5 air pollution caused around 54,000 premature deaths in New Delhi. Air pollution also contributes to global warming. Also, the coronavirus highlighted just how urgent tackling of air pollution is needed. Air pollution kills 7 million people worldwide every year, but we don't take it as seriously as COVID-19. Next slide, please. The one solution to this is converting all vehicles to electric, but it will take at least 30 years. During this time, all cities will choke up with air pollution. So there's a simple solution: build or develop a low-cost system that can capture the pollution. Thinking about this problem, I got an idea of using trees as pollution absorbers. But for this, any common tree won't do. So we will have to choose trees that can absorb dangerous PM2.5 efficiently and the one that can grow the fastest. To achieve such trees, we will have to hybridize both of them. This is how we can use technology to create such trees so that every Indian house, park, roads can have these planted on them easily, so that future generations need to feel like they have a future. Thank you.
Yes, members, questions?
I didn't understand this. So what is hybridized planting? Could you just
So it's just a vision so that we can, we already know that trees take a lot of time to mature. So here's an idea that we can take 2 trees. For example, we have a bamboo tree that almost takes 6 years to develop, and it almost takes 90 days after it's being planted. And we have such for example pines and conifers, which are the best PM absorbers. So we can we want a tree that will have varieties of that will contain both the possibilities. For example, we will plant tree that can absorb pollutants also, as that can grow fast also.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now we'll go to the next one. Mazboot Mazloor.
Yes. So a very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rashmi Prajapati and I'm a 5th year mathematics major student at IISc Mohali. My idea is mainly meant for daily.
Lost your voice. We can't hear you.
Am I audible now?
No, it's you need to raise the volume.
Is it better now? Hello?
It's fine. Please start again.
1 minute, sir. Yes. A very good afternoon to everyone. My name is and I'm a 5th year mathematics major student at IISc Mohali. My idea is mainly meant for daily laborers or dihadi mazdoors. So, lockdown, we all have seen how much dihadi mazdoors.
We have lost you again.
More than 90% of the working population of India is comprised by daily laborers or dihadi mazdoors. So, to help them, to help these daily laborers, I want to create an app called Mazboot Mazdoor. So, my customers would be
We lost you. We can't hear you.
So then maybe we can take this later on.
That's what we'll do. So we'll take you in the last again, because so we'll move to next. Hoodies.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take you in the last. So
Okay, no problem, sir.
Just please note, Mazdoor will take in the last, so do not mark her startup as of now.
Okay, sure, sir.
I'm now going to hoodies. Sahil.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, please go on.
Hoodies is actually my startup idea. It is an app in which we can personally design t-shirts for events, programs, and other sports matches where we require a common design. Like for a sports team of cricket, volleyball, we require t-shirts which have like similar colors, institute name, and maybe a personal name and number. So next page. So in this app, we have tools and the software in which a common customer can design himself the T-shirt and place the order in the to the manufacturer directly. This reduces the involvement of the middleman because he simply has the contact and he takes the order from customers and gives it to the manufacturer. Next slide. So the interface will look like this. We can ourselves design the t-shirt. It may be hoodies, sweaters, or anything for any organization or NGO or volunteers who are trying to do a program. And we can place the order directly with the manufacturer, which are registered in the app. The manufacturer will also get the business and a small amount of commission will be charged by the app.
We'll take the questions now.
I understand. So these are personalized t-shirts already, in the market. You want to make it sort of app-based so that its individual can do it right from his home. Is that right? Without going through
Yes, sir. And directly place the order with the manufacturer, the factory owner himself.
But Sahil, there is already companies doing similar solution, right? For example, Print Vista is almost doing that. I mean, of course, there will not be many manufacturers, but Print Vista allows you to design whatever you want to design, stationery, clothes, and then they can get it manufactured on the backside.
Yes, sir. But my app will also door deliver the product to you. My app is just like a platform between manufacturer and the customer. We do the door delivery service also.
Okay.
Thank you. So we'll move to the next one, which is biosensor, BioOrg, Team BioOrg.
Hi, so my name is Misha. So we're all aware of how there's a certain push towards eating healthy food, organic food nowadays, and this means better prices for organic food. However, some people have found a way to cheat customers by selling food grown with pesticides, but label it organic for the sake of money. So there's a need of detection methods that are reliable. The target of my project will be organophosphates, which make about 50% of the chemical pesticides that kill their pests. They inhibit acetylcholine esterase and thus act as a neurotoxin in insects, but as well as in humans, so which can lead to serious health consequences and even death, making them a public health hazard as well. So again, their detection is need of the hour. The already existing methods for their detection are extremely expensive and take 4 to 9 days to get result. The aim of my idea is to develop a reusable, low-cost, rapid real monitoring biosensor for the detection of organophosphates by the extension of the genetic code. This is a very broad flowchart explaining the biological aspect of my biosensor of how it will be built. Thank you.
Numbers questions, please. I don't think we have questions from the evaluators. We'll go to the next one.
You could have asked, okay, how is it different from the existing ones?
So next is Team Navi.
Evening, everyone. My idea revolves around the merger of ideas of sonar technology and nanobots to create a topographic map of the body. In a sonar, we have a transmitter that emits a wave of a particular frequency. Then the receptor receives reflections and echoes. That data is analyzed to create a map of the object of interest. Nanobots are nanometer-sized bots that can be injected into the bloodstream and programmed to do small tasks. Bots have already been built that can be programmed to deliver drugs to cancer cells. Next slide, please. One can then fit a sonar into a nanobot and inject into the bloodstream to create a map of the interior. Using this data, along with data on blood flow, type, viscosity, etc., one can create a topographic map of the body part in consideration. This data obtained can be matched with a control map to check for problems like clots, cancer cells, excess cholesterol deposition, and more. This method can be suitably generalized to map the interior of other small capillaries. Thank you.
Questions, please.
What is the size of these robots? Typical size?
Yeah, nanobots are like nanometer size, like 10 power minus 9 meters.
So, I mean, how many nanometers?
Yeah, like about 20 nanometers, 30 nanometers, something like
that. Okay, thanks.
And we'll move to next one, which is team the dock side.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah. Hi, can you think of something that has increased since pandemic other than babies and loneliness? Masks and gloves. The single-use plastic that can take thousands of years to decompose. We have a two-step solution presenting Argo. The first step is to segregate the masks and gloves at a municipal level using image recognition. The garbage is dumped onto the conveyor belt. The camera recognizes the waste, and those pieces are then picked up and collected. The second step is to process the waste. Next, please. The second step is to process the waste through Argo bin. The Argo bin is two parts. The first part is to chop the pieces into smaller pieces by rotors, which are run on solar power. And the second half contains fluid that has enzymes, PETase, and MHE taste. What they do is they convert the polymeric plastic into simple monomers. And the bonus is we can sell these byproducts and we can make money. Thank you.
Yes, questions from the evaluators.
How do you separate masks from other junk material? Because there's all kinds of waste.
Sir, we will train we will use the image recognition technique, and we will use machine learning for that. And what we do is, using machine learning, we can feed the pictures of masks of all kinds and through all angles, so the camera can recognize the mask and the gloves. So the image recognition is used.
How is it different from the existing technologies of recycling?
Sir, it is not recycling. It is decomposing, degrading the plastic into monomers. And so the problem of the plastic, single-use plastic, will be solved. And the byproducts can be used in the industries. We can sell them to industries. There are many uses of them, and we can make money through that as well. So the current technologies of recycling, they are expensive. It will not be such that expensive.
So any further questions do we have? Okay, so we'll go to the next one, which is Cypod.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Hello?
Please.
Am I audible?
Yes,
please.
Yeah. To a layman, the term scientist means an all-knowing entity who cannot be questioned. The layman does not completely understand how research works on the current innovations going on in the scientific community. To tackle this problem, I'm proposing Cypod. Cypod will be a broadcast platform where people can tune in to learn about the current innovations. Next slide, please. The vision of Cypod is to connect various science institutions across the nation by reaching out to the researchers, hence providing a broader base to researchers. Next slide, please. The way it will happen is by organizing weekly talks and creating a platform that will host video recordings of these talks. Also, to encourage open discussions, a form will be there to host questions. Cypod will be a rewarding platform where users will be rewarded for consuming content, and the rewards will be compensated by the advertisements on the platform. This will improve click-through. The other forms of the revenue will be through merchandise and the premium subscriptions, which will provide access to bi-weekly magazines and provide forum access with highly placed researchers. Thank you.
Questions, please.
Scientists themselves may not be that willing to participate.
No, they
can. What do they get in return?
So the thing is that they get a broader set of people to learn about the
they can spread the information to the layman. The core concept about the research is spreading information. The researcher gets to spread information to different kind of people, and incentivize. We can also incentivize a researcher by providing a minimum amount of money or something like that. He can also advertise the PhD positions, postdoc positions, or some kind of positions which he will be looking to offer to people.
Thanks.
Thanks. Now we'll take a break of 2 minutes so that evaluators can cross-check. We have done 15 presentations till now, as in 15 teams have presented till SciPod. So evaluators, please cross-check your respective worksheets for the marks.
15 or 14.
And after 2 minutes, we'll call the next team. No, this is not SciPod. Bitter God is not SciPod.
SciPod हो गया, Bitter God इसके बाद.
हाँ, तो SciPod is not that great, no?
No.
हाँ. वही.
Should we go ahead, or we want for the more time an evaluator? Do we want for the time?
Please go ahead, Satin.
Yeah, fine, thanks. So now the next is natural product synthesis.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
You're audible. Please go ahead.
Hello. So breast cancer is the most diagnosed cancer and the most frequent cause for cancer-related deaths in women worldwide. Every 4 minutes, one woman in India is diagnosed with breast cancer. So one of the primary reasons why this treatment fails is drug resistance and undesirable side effects observed with conventional chemotherapy drugs. Hence, there is an urgent need to develop new and potent medicines. But who knew we had a potential solution in the food we eat? Here I introduce you to a triterpenoid named TCD, isolated from bitter gourd, or Karela as we call it. TCD shows very promising anti-proliferative activity against mammalian breast cancer cells. As the compound is present in lower concentrations in the fruit, I pitch to produce this valuable compound in massive amounts using yeast cells by co-expression of two P450 monooxygenase genes using a 2-micron plasmid transformation and building a high TCD producing yeast strain. I aim to start the clinical trials as soon as possible and make this drug available in the market. Thank you.
But you still get drug resistance here again. This is a new drug. It doesn't solve the problem of drug resistance.
Yes, I understand that, but we can use it in combination with different drugs, the current drugs that we have, and maybe a better prescription we can create for the current problem.
Also, does it have anti-cancer properties, this particular compound?
Yes, in a recent paper, it has proved anti-cancer properties, and they have tried it on various animals, but they haven't tried it on humans, so we need to check that too.
Is it this drug is approved? No. Just some information is there in the literature, and then based on that you are proposing this.
It is not approved. We have to pitch for the approval, because if it will be approved, then the work will already start, or it will be too late, I think.
Okay.
So we'll go to the next one. Next is Clutch Team Aditya.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So good afternoon, my dear friends and esteemed panel. Can you move to the next slide? Through this idea, we want to address the that we usually face of wasting a lot of energy and time surfing around almost all web markets like say Amazon, searching for some surprise to present to our friends and family. The problem is that making personalized product and may not feel like really war to them to whom we are presenting the gifts. Like we will make a web platform where we are going to take some inputs from the user, and a panel of experts will study the likes and dislikes of them Okay, so accordingly, a skilled engineers and the creative team will be some products which the user account cannot view, but others can do so, and thus can be ordered by their next slide, please. So not just this, you would have a whole set of teams at different parts of who will carry on out the entire process from arrangement to creative ways of selling. Right, thank you.
So questions from the evaluators, please. So, okay,
so on what basis the background team will come out with this, that what will be liked or not liked by that person?
So they user is making an account, there will be a whole set of questions and answer around. From that, we are going to judge the whole psychology behind the person, and we are going to judge the likes and dislikes, and also we can use the different AI that are currently available in the market to study the psychology of the person, and accordingly we can build the models. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go to the next one. This is Team Frugi.
Yeah. So our brand is called Frugi, and it sounds like Gucci. Next slide, please. And it creates completely vegan, eco-friendly, cruelty-free economic designer leather made from the peels of fruits like mango, for example. The thought behind was that neighboring Jalandhar has a huge animal leather industry, which is facing a lot of criticism and also closure due to massive environment and water pollution. Secondly, more and more consumers are now getting conscious and want eco-friendly products that don't compromise on quality and on optics. Next slide. This idea would work because we have abundant cheap raw material in India in terms of fruits. Also, we have existing world-class leather-making infrastructure in Jalandhar and Ludhiana, so we don't need anything new. And this idea has been successfully demonstrated by startups across the world, but there is no solid competition in India and in Punjab's traditional leather industry. It would sell because vegan leather feels exactly like animal leather, and we can make all sorts of premium leather products out of it. Vegan leather has a lot of variety, which adds to the appeal. It is a suitable product for a small-scale startup operating in the online business. And the geotag of Jalandhar industry adds to prestige. Lastly, I would like to say that sustainable luxury is in the vogue, and we are at the right time at the right place to make the best use of this opportunity. Thank you.
But this is an idea that's been around for some time anyway. So isn't it? So what is the new thing you're proposing here?
Yeah, so for this idea has not conceptualized that much in India, for instance, and we have some startups in India that are importing vegan leather from outside. Secondly, vegan leather is currently being made from bamboo, for example, but options that explores fruits, like for example, mangoes or pineapples or aloe vera have not been explored. So there is this opportunity that we can tap into. And secondly, we have a chance of saving Jalandhar's existing leather industry. And the leather market in India is growing. It is continuously growing, and India is the second largest consumer of leather goods. So we have a lot of potential right here.
So we'll go to the next one. So next one is Team Osh.
Hello, am I audible?
Please go ahead.
So, are you also gazing at those pile of old books off the corner like me and could not decide what to do with them? Well, I've got an idea for you. For this, we can build a website on which the readers can sell or donate their old books to us, which we will sell at reasonable prices, and all the ill-conditioned books that we receive will be sent for the recycling process. As a thoughtful initiative, we will give away some of our books to the underprivileged reader over every certain period of time. And all this could happen in just a click or a call. Calling is for those who do not avail internet connections. Next slide, please. So the mission behind is the price tag of the books won't be an obstacle in the path of the readers. And I would like to end this on a thought that though a good act, you only recycle the wrapper, but did you peel it off the food first? By this, I just mean to say that though it's a very good act that we are recycling books or the paper, but are we actually recycling the knowledge or the content engraved in it? So think of it. And the vision behind is to reshare the knowledge before recycling it.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Aren't there already such apps for recycling books, for selling you old books?
Sir, I'm aware of the competition, but I haven't seen yet in the Indian market. I have seen that the booksellers are doing this, but there is no market for old book per se.
So if you do it here, will you do it the same way, or is there something new you're going to put into it?
No, I want to make it an app like so that we can purchase the books like we buy clothes or anything that we buy on the apps. So it will be easy, or for those who do not avail internet connections, there will be a call service on which they can say their ISBN, the book number, so we can confirm it by ISBN numbers.
Have you
We can
thought
track
out about the copyright issues in this?
What kind of copyright issue, sir?
So, for example, I mean, you cannot sell an old book as per the original rights of the copywriter. You can't resell the book without their permission, without the permission of the publisher. Have you ever thought about that?
I haven't thought about it, but I can work on it.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
Understood.
Thanks, Timosh. Yeah. So next is 40 case.
Good afternoon, dear board members. My idea is motivated from the fact that it is impossible to imagine a modern, socially active man who doesn't use mobile devices. It has become an integral part of our daily life. The effect of mobile phone radiation on male fertility is the subject of recent interest and investigations. There have been many researches published on this topic, and one of the research published in Central European Journal of Urology in 2014 concluded that the correlation exists between mobile phone radiation exposure, DNA fragmentation level, and decreased sperm count and motility. Next slide, please. Hence, to prevent the radiations reaching our skin, we got an idea to design a mobile cover which will prevent the radiations from reaching our body. After some research and discussion, we found a long list of materials that can absorb radiation, but we had to choose that item which is lightweight, cost-effective, and heat-dissipating also. Therefore, what we'll do is that we'll just add a thin layer of lead foil in the conventional mobile covers used today, which will shield our body from these unnecessary radiations given out due to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connectivity, and mobile hotspot. And we have named this new mobile cover as Ferti case, that is derived from the two words fertility and mobile case. Thank you.
So I have a question.
Please go ahead.
And my question is, as we know that since the waves are mostly of the range of radio waves and microwaves, and you are blocking the outgoing waves, and we all know that these waves are of heating type, so hence won't the phone will get heat up?
Okay. So what we have done here is that we have chosen lead as our shielding material. But do you know that lead is an pyroelectric crystal? For your kind information, I would like to say here that pyroelectric substances are those substances which can generate electricity upon heating. So what my plan is that the heat generated from the absorption will be used to charge the phone. I know that voltage is not sufficient to charge the phone, but here we are not concerned whether it will charge our phone fully or not.
Got it. Evaluators, any questions now? So now the thing is that the lead foil is allowed to be used in the consumer products?
Pardon, sir?
As per the regulatory norms, can we use the lead foil or the lead as a material in consumer products?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Why can't we use it? Because the pencils which we use initially in our classes, in the nursery classes, we use graphite pencils, and in those pencils we have a lead.
Fine. Okay. Thank you. Let's go to the next one.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Nishant Raj, team name Dark Horse.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please go, Nishant.
Yeah, let's start with the first slide. Next slide. So my main idea is to build a device or software which will tell the calorie content of our food by just taking photos of our food. Actually, there are lots of other software and apps which tells about the calorie content, but none by taking the photos of the food. Hence, it could be first of its kind. I had mentioned the working and benefits in this presentation, in this slide. Can we go to the next slide? On a larger picture, we can connect such software with our VR devices. Now, with the help of this software, an individual could trace their previous performance and can work out simultaneously with its goals and could enhance their fitness in a better way. Many entrepreneurs, businessmen, and tech giants are considering the virtual reality and augmented reality could make revolution in the existing world. Hence, such software will be in huge demand in coming years. I had mentioned the feasibility, opportunities, and features in this slide. Thank you.
Questions
So
from
Nishant, I have a question. So while taking photos, how would the quantity, how will the software will determine that in how much quantity that food has been consumed?
Actually, in the initial stage, if the user could mention the texture and weight, it would be helpful. But the AI are so smart that with so much of a large number of data, if we run large number of data during the trials, millions and thousands of data, the AI could determine those things. And
But there are
also with
companies like Haldivita, they already have this facility, not of picture, but if you just mention the name of the food and quantity, they will come out. They already have this feature on their app that they come out with how many calories you have consumed. Have you studied that?
Yeah, but they say that a ball of suppose a ball of rice contains 80 calorie, but they are not sure about the texture of the ball, the quality, means the rice quality. But if we are taking the photos, it could be more accurate. They say the suppose one chapati is of 20 calorie, but they don't mention the figure and the texture of the chapati. But with the photo sensing stuff, we can be more accurate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to the next one. Team iHydromet.
Hello everyone. The linear water use cycle operated in a society is a major cause for rising gap between wastewater quantity produced and treated. In India, around 35% of the total wastewater is treated and rest is discharged into environment, causing problems. Major reasons for this scenario are the lack of treatment infrastructure and the issues faced by the existing facilities like high capital cost, energy intensive operation, costly conveyance network, and no resource recovery options. Next, please. So here we propose integrated hydroponics microbial electrochemical technology to manage wastewater at households. This innovative integration exploits various physiochemical and bioelectrochemical processes to get efficient treatment and resource recovery in terms of reclaimed water for non-potable reuses and closing the water use cycle. It also promotes organic farming and generates some bioelectricity. We envisage that it is a cost-effective and eco-friendly solution for water resource management and ultimately contributing to sustainable development goals. Thank you.
How are you? Hydroponics is known, but how do you integrate microbial electrochemical technology into this?
This is the science behind this that by integrating these two processes in a single system.
How?
So this is the science behind actually we can the basic hydroponics design is to feed the plants with nutrient solution. So we are using the nutrients of wastewater to cultivate the plants, and we are creating the environment in this reactor unit by using some bad matrix and playing with the height to get some anaerobic environments and recirculating the wastewater, giving some time aerobic environment. So all these different processes will, and electrode assembly is also there, which is part of electrochemical processes. So all these different processes can lead to the fast and efficient treatment.
So, okay, so any further questions? Fine, so we'll go ahead with the next one, which is sunlight DTH.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, please.
All right. So the sun is one of the biggest blessings of nature to us. From prompting the growth of living beings to bringing in illumination and warmth, sunlight is essential to life. It is an abundant, free of cost, and never-ending source of energy. With this motivation, we present to you Sunlight DTH, direct to home, through which we aim to bring natural sunlight to illuminate places which was previously unimaginable. It uses this innovative design, which consists of a highly reflective parabolic dish as a sunlight collector mounted on an Arduino-based dual-axis solar tracker. The collected sunlight is directly delivered using multiple optical fibers coupled with a diffuser. The impact its success can show is huge as it saves energy. It will be a low-cost way to lighten up huge buildings, offices, institutes, warehouses, and home interiors by reducing the reliance on electricity. At the end, I'd say everything is fine when there is sunlight. Sunlight DTH. Thank you.
Questions from my writers, please.
How is it different from capturing solar energy? Right now the solar panels we have. What's the difference between that? What is new about this in terms of solar capture?
So the design is different. We are using a reflecting geometry in which the way of collection of sunlight is different, and we hope that it will be a more efficient way.
Thanks.
So we'll go next one. Next one is Team Rohit.
Hello everyone. Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Go ahead, you are audible. Please go ahead.
So basically my idea is about the sericulture. So we will produce silk at Idea-Phied. Next slide, please. Next slide. So sericulture is an agro-based or a cottage industry that rears silkworms for silk manufacturing. So basically we will implement this plant in Isar-Mohali. Its basic requirements are basically plant mulberry foliage and the silkworm rearing home, rearing equipments and silkworm eggs, and also about the farm equipment. So the benefit which we will be getting from this is basically we can train farmers about this, and they can also have their own income. Also, the government supports this by giving subsidies, and this may also be beneficial for the students who are taking the bio majors if they want to do some research on silkworms or like that.
This is the traditional form of sericulture. What is different? Except that you want to do it Isar-Mohali.
Yes. So basically, it means that it is not very popular in Punjab, so that's why.
Is there any extra demand of silk at Isar-Mohali?
Not actually, but we can do it here.
Okay, fine.
Don't you think there is a reason for this? Because traditionally silk is not grown in Punjab because silkworms can't tolerate cold and all of that.
Okay, fine. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. Next one is Team Renu next.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So the problem that I'm trying to address is that everyone gets their salary at the end of the month. What if you need the money in the middle of the month? You either take a loan or you take an advance from the company that you're working in. So in that, the fact is that it is highly dependent on the policies, and most of the good policies are with the MNCs. Even with that, it is highly dependent on what position you're at. So yeah, can you change the slide? And again, yeah, just change it. So our solution is that we borrow money from the NBFCs and give it directly to the employee. So let's say the employee has a salary of 1 lakh rupees. Today he needs 30,000. So we'll give him 30,000. At the end of the month, the employer will give him 70,000. And then he'll give us back 30,300. And then again, for example, we'll give 30,100 back to the NBFCs, and hence a 200 rupees profit for us. The way this is foolproof is that we're not actually working with the employee, but more with the employer. So till the time the person is working in the institution, there is no chance of him running with the money. Yeah, thank you.
Questions, please.
So if I recall, there is already a company, in fact, not only one, there are a couple of companies which are doing this. The difference may be that they're directly dealing with the employees. In your case, the difference which I'm saying that you're saying that you will be dealing with the employer, not the employee. So is there any other difference?
Yeah, this is actually the main difference, because when we are directly dealing with the employee, it's more of a loan, and here it's more of the same salary that he's getting it in advance. And yeah, there's no really problem of any repayment.
But
And
how will you deal with the employer, since in your books as per RBI regulation, the borrower would be the employee? Then how the employer will pitch in? Will they become the guarantor, or what? In what capacity they will be there in the system?
they will be the guarantor. So what we'll do is that through the employer, it's getting you can say validated, because I'm dealing with the company, and if a person working in that company is there, he can avail this offer. So he'll give that 30,000 to us, and then other dealing will be done by the employer.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So we'll go to the next one. Cold plasma pyrolysis. Yeah.
Greetings, everyone. It's Sanskar from Side Eagles. You all are aware of the hazardous plastic cause, but I believe it's not the plastic which is bad, but the way we chose to handle it. What happens with most of the plastic is either they end up floating in the ocean or get dumped into landfills. Now, we all have heard about recycling. The problem with recycling is it's not as simple as it sounds, and plastic degrades after every use. So we can't really recycle it more than twice. Then what could be done? Here is the innovation we need: cold plasma pyrolysis. This process can be used to convert plastic into clean energy and other useful chemicals. It breaks plastic into hydrogen, methane, and ethylene. Hydrogen methane can be used to make clean energy, while ethylene can be used to again make high density polythenes. The best part is this technique bakes the plastic in seconds, and this is what makes it feasible and, most importantly, economically efficient. I would like to conclude myself by saying the current plastic situation is chaotic, and given the chaos, we hope to make something charismatic out of it. Thank you very much.
Questions, please.
So this is something developed by someone there by the reference you're given, right?
Yes, sir.
Santiago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
what is
sir.
your innovation in this?
Yes, sir. So this process is developed by Dr. N. Fan from University of Newcastle. But it's this process is still in research purposes only, and it is not implemented anywhere in the world right now. And so we are trying to implement it here and make it economically feasible.
But how this cold plasma pyrolysis work?
So in cold plasma pyrolysis, we generate we pass through high electricity and put some barriers on it, from the barrier the current doesn't flow and voltage changes, which energize the electrons, and that breaks plastic into hydrogen, methane, and ethylene. This process is already used for processing contaminated food, this cold plasma process.
Yeah, but that is entirely different thing, right? But if you just
Yes,
want
sir,
to
yes, sir.
decompose a plastic,
Yes,
so
sir,
you
yes,
may
sir,
need
sir.
very high
Sir,
energy, right?
we use electricity which energize the electrons of gases. It could be O3, the gases, it could be NO2 in the atmosphere, and those electrons decomposes the plastic in seconds into hydrogen, methane, and ethylene.
Are you sure about it? Because
Yes,
you
sir.
need high thermal energy or
No, sir, no, sir. This
electrical energy for that.
technique is developed by Dr. N. Pham. She's one of the most renowned researcher from University of Newcastle, and this is very feasible process.
I want
And
to
it
add something.
more. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, I want to add something, Sanskar.
Yeah.
Actually, okay. So thanks for the question. Actually, cold plasma pyrolysis allows for the conversion of waste plastics into ethylene, methane, and hydrogen, and it's feasible to use methane and hydrogen as clean fuels, as they only produce small amounts of destructive elements. So that's why I think, like carbon dioxide and unburned hydrocarbons, they are producing very low amount. So I think that we can say it's feasible process too. Thank you.
Fine. Thanks. So we'll go to the next one. Next slide. Next is team Infinity Reactors.
Hello everyone. This is Vikas from MS21 and representing here on behalf of Infinity Reactors.
It's a Zoom session, so I can't even crack a joke how we have all come here in vehicles contributing to the pollution. Never mind. What we have proposed here is the idea of a nuclear car, a never-ending run. Is it even possible? Legends say nothing is impossible. Here are certain facts. In 1958, Ford worked on a concept car named Nucleon, and that was about 60 years ago. One of the advancements during this time is thorium reactors. Some of the properties of thorium have been mentioned here in the slide. Now, coming to the point, why we actually need it. How would it be better than others? Most importantly, its sustainability. No carbon emissions, no refueling, and environment friendly. And according to some nuclear studies, this could be our solution to energy crisis for the upcoming thousands of years. This was basically our idea of making your rides radioactive. Thank you for listening patiently.
Questions, please.
How will you make it radioactive safe?
Yeah.
Sir, using a fuel like thorium is not radioactive or harmful if we touch it, because it produces alpha rays that are not that do not penetrate human skin.
And sir, it produces uranium-233 element, which is very short-lived and it's not radioactive.
No, that's not
And
the
we can
problem. The
easily
problem is how
control
to
the
use it for cars. So, I mean, many mega corporations are already thinking about it. But like you said, it's absolutely theoretical at this
कैमरा
stage.
क्यों नहीं on किया? Why don't you turn on your camera क्यों नहीं on किया?
Please be on mute if you.
So we are making a core which is very small and it's very manageable. And in it, we are proposing of something in which radiations don't leak.
So this is our concept. Actually, it needs a lot of work.
What about
in
case of accidents and all? Because it's a mobile device. You are going to put it in a car or something, right?
Yes, sir.
So in that case, that leakage, you have to take care of many things, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, exactly. Like using a fuel like thorium, because the reaction is very short-lived, so it can be controlled, and it would not go. It would not make a chain reaction that will be heavily drastic.
And sir, it will not harm also. Because thorium is a very safe metal, that's why.
No, you are talking about simple, you're talking about a radioactive element, right?
Yes, sir.
So you cannot just say
Sir,
that actually it is safe.
Sir, since I would like to say that since nuclear submarines are already working, so why can't it be nuclear car? And it's very better than electric vehicles as they consume fossil fuels and carbon emissions are very more in them.
Fine, Shreya. So I think due to paucity of
So
time.
nuclear submarines, maybe, sorry, just one second, Sarendra. So nuclear submarines are called nuclear submarines because they're equipped with nuclear weapons. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm the ignorant one here. Or they are running on nuclear fuel. That's why they're called nuclear
They are
submarines.
running on nuclear reactors.
Oh, yeah, that is correct. They are running on nuclear reactors, actually.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, fine. Thanks. Now we'll go to the next one, which is bionic lights. Bionic lights. Okay, so we'll take the next one. Writers, please note, we are skipping the bionic lights as nobody has joined from their end as of now. So we'll go with the Neuralia. Neuralia, sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Team Neuralia.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ajit Ismail, and I'm here to represent Neuralia. Dreams, mostly forgotten by many, have a huge potential in uncovering the mystery of the brain and the subconscious. They present deep potential in learning about the collective unconscious as a very structured and complex. We here in Neuralia understand that, and we plan to create a device, DC1, in order to record and visualize dreams. We plan to use an extensive amount of techniques in order to decode this. Data is collected from different parts of our unconscious, such as visual, audio, and motor during the dream and awake state, and this data is fed into a deep neural network. The DNN analyzes this and deciphers a dream. DC1 has a huge potential in solving psychological issues like dementia, anxiety, depression, etc., as it helps psychoanalysts uncover the subconscious mind of patients to better understand them. If coupled with lucid dreaming, the possibility of DC1 are limitless. Usage of DC1 expands to different fields and can be integrated into other areas of science. Thank you.
So the MIT Media Lab has got, has been working on this. You want to comment, or you want to say something as to something what you're doing different, or you just want to?
Excuse me, sir, which lab?
MIT Media Lab.
Yes, but they're working on a hypnagogic state, hypnagogia. I'm actually working on a different product which analyzes the dream itself. They're like learning about the state between the conscious and this unconscious.
How will this capture the? It's not clear. How will you capture the dream from this?
We are planning to collect the dream through various parts of the conscious, like visual, audio, and motor. Like for visual and audio, we scan a brain through fMRI, and we analyze the activities during the awake and dream state. And for motor, we use a different technique actually. We analyze the nerve signals, motor signals which come to the muscles, which even though we are sleeping actually come to the muscles, but since the body is in a sleep paralysis, it doesn't move the body. So we can read that, we can analyze if the person is shaking hands, picking something, or walking. And if we couple this with lucid dreamers, which are conscious dreamers who can control the dreams, we will be able to understand the brain activity when someone is doing something in their dream, and we can understand, we can tell them beforehand for their dream.
Thank you.
Okay.
So do we have any further questions? Fine, we'll go ahead with the next one. So next one is Team Exercise.
Good afternoon, everyone. What if universally accessible healthcare became a reality in the near future? Wouldn't that be extremely beneficial? Next slide, please. Light is a personalized health assistant that aims to do exactly that. An AI-enabled medical graduate in all fields, it runs across all devices, including Bluetooth ones, enabling it to monitor vitals, location, and respond to emergencies. Through a worldwide collaborative network with hospitals, it aims at faster and more effective emergency response by providing an option to help people and access to prescribed drugs through a collaborative pharmacy. Next slide, please. The AI would be incorporated with the ability to prescribe drugs instantaneously in coordination with a questionnaire filled by the patient. Deputed doctors will monitor the AI prescription procedure 24/7, and the AI would also be able to direct cases that request special attention and refer them to a doctor. With rapid progress in AI that is characteristic of now, this would be self-sufficient soon enough to solve the low doctor is to patient ratio. Next slide. Thank you.
Questions, please.
Isn't there there's already an app named Ada which does the same?
There is not yet an existing app for this. I mean, instantaneous prescriptions don't yet exist to make the whole thing faster, because people still suffer from not being able to go to the doctor, not getting fast enough treatment.
But the prescription will be generated by the AI capability of the software, right?
Yes, the prescription will be generated with the AI capability, and at first we will have doctors monitoring it 24/7, and if it detects something that is a little bit out of the ordinary, it will immediately refer it to a human doctor until it is self-sufficient, which
this is not possible as per the legal framework of India. As per the MCA rules, the prescription can be generated only by a doctor, whether online or offline.
Exactly.
Another thing, I have a question. So regarding this machine learning model that you are using, so where does this data comes from, and what is the authenticity of the data?
We are also thinking of by machine learning, we actually teach the computer the whole data. And how is it done? We are thinking of using a worldwide network of doctors from all disciplines to create a whole database inclusive of how and what they ask patients if they see certain symptoms. So it will basically provide the user with a drop down that enables him or her to select the symptoms so that it is faster, and so that they are non-medical people, right? So that their brain does not get involved in it. So basically thinking of making a whole database based on this, which will be fed into the AI.
Fine. Okay, thanks. Now we'll go to the next one. Next team is team Richu. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Select is an innovative idea. It is a B2C platform. It sells used goods. In used goods segment, there is no B2C platform. Qkr, eBay, OLX are C2C platforms. So here comes the importance of Select. We collect used and obsolete goods at a very cheap price using our mobile application. Our team will quote a price and they collect the product directly from the customer. We will have production department where they do not produce anything, instead repair and refurnish the collected used goods. We sell these products using our mobile application at a reasonable price. Used products do not have a fixed market rate, so Select can sell goods with a good margin. Select using reusing idea and 3R principle, so it reduces the wastage of resources, e-waste, and deforestation. Many products that are futile in our houses are useful goods for others. Our idea acts two ways. It removes the burden of useless products for higher income group, and lower income group can get quality products at cheap rate. Vision of Select is sustainable utilization of goods and increase the standard of living of low income groups. Thank you.
Vincha, in case of your platform, you're saying it will be B2C and it will be used goods. Now, how businesses will sell used goods, right? Businesses will be mostly producing new goods only, right? Or are you saying that it will be a platform for people who want to sell used goods?
No, it is a C2C platform, right? I'm saying about B2C platform. I will make it as a brand, and our people will collect the used goods from different area, and we will sell it.
It's mostly the depreciated assets or the scrap, right?
What?
No, if your people will be collecting it, that means you will be selling it. Then there is no B2C. I mean, when we say B2C, there will be a lot of Bs has to be there on the platform, right? A lot of businesses have to be there who are selling it. But I mean, maybe you're naming it wrong. There is no problem in your concept. I'm not saying it's problem in the concept. Maybe you're naming it wrong.
No, I'm making this as an Amazon, Flipkart, that kind of platform.
But on Amazon and Flipkart, they have sellers over there, right? In your case, you're saying your people will collect it and then you will sell it on that platform. Anyways, all right.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to the next one. Signet.
Am I audible?
Yes.
The idea that I will be pitching today is a company called Signet. Next slide. One of the biggest reasons for the non-translation of cutting-edge research into current technology into people's lives is the fact that they often lack industrial connections to get products into larger scales. This exists even if the researchers is well placed. Thus, the need of the hour is a scientific network. Signet will be the connecting bridge. Next slide. Signet's vision is to provide a platform where scientist profiles can be hosted for industrial companies to access, and also to keep a network of industrial companies that need research inputs. Thus, it will help connect the two based on shared research topics, and will help companies or startups incorporate researchers into the network, strengthening the research aspect of the company. Another problem which the two sides face in collaborating is the paperwork. Signet will handle the documentation procedure to provide hassle-free onboarding of the company with the researcher and the institute the researcher is affiliated to. The revenue for sustaining Signet will be generated from a subscription to reach out to the profiles of the researchers and commissions on successful onboarding. Thank you.
Questions, committee?
With this, sorry, I have a question. So in your solution, are you providing any sort of incubation service? Because it seems to me that you are using the handling the documentation per thing for the onboarding company. So are you some sort of an incubator?
Not really. We're basically keeping profiles for the industries that might be interested in researchers, and researchers that might be interested in industrial connections. So we're not really incubators.
Fine. Thank you. So With this, we are done with the presentation. Only two are left. We'll go back to them because of the network issues. One is the bionic, other is the Mazboot Mazdoor. So first we'll start with bionic. Bionic lights. You are there?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
Please start.
I'm Fatima. Yeah, hi, I'm Fatima from Team Bionic Lights. Yeah, we all are well familiar with algae. They are a very diverse group of organisms with huge amount of potential in them. We here in Bionic Light use the mechanism of photosynthesis in algae to help convert the chemical energy produced into electrical energy in the form of lamps by the property of bioluminescence in algae. But why a lamp out of algae? Algae are, we know, algae are 100 to 150 times more efficient than normal trees in removing the excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Thus, they have the excellent potential of acting as air cleansers in cities as well as light source for houses, and maybe in small scale in cities too. Bionic lights can be also used for decorating in our houses and offices also. Bionic lights can be used efficiently in cities as street lights also, and as well as an air purifier. The light can be sold in many different forms such as table lamps, wall lamps, etc. Not only that, the algae once dead can also be harvested and be used as biofuels, which are particularly attractive also. Algae are easy to cultivate too. But also we can extract algae from the aquatic environment and thus helps from the formation of algal blooms.
Thanks. Questions, please. So I don't think we have.
So what is the source of the light? Explain that a little bit.
Hello.
What is the source of the lights?
We'll use the means instead of battery and other electrical sources, we'll use algae, which will convert the energy to electrical energy. That's the concept.
How will algae convert electrical energy?
Not like that. The algae has a property of bioluminescence, which can emit light by its own. So we can use that property.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to the last one, which is Mazboot Mazdoor.
So I want to confirm whether I am audible now.
Yes, you are audible now.
Okay, sir. Let me start then.
Yeah, please.
So a very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rashmi Prajapati and I am a 5th year mathematics major student at IISM Mohali. My idea is mainly meant for daily laborers or
We lost your voice again, but we can go through your slides. I would request committee members to go through the slides and then ask the question in the chat box.
Yes, so
Please go through a slide on here and you may ask the question in the chat box, evaluators. Please note, because we are not able to hear her properly.
Is it somewhat better?
You're trying to connect laborers with people who want who want the laborers. Is that right?
To the contractors. She's connected.
Contractors,
I suppose. Yeah. Through website, she will want to create a platform.
Actually, an app.
Yeah, an app, through an app.
Yes.
Are similar apps available already? Basically, some companies have such apps. I think is it available commercially? Such an app.
So I think what she is developing is for the unskilled laborers.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Unlike
it's basically for the.
Yeah. Please go ahead. I think we got the gist. Evaluators, if you have any questions, you can ask on the chat box. Okay, fine. Thank you, Rashmi. So with this, we conclude the presentations from all the Idea-Phied registered participants. Thanks for your sharing your ideas. At the same time, I am also thankful to the evaluator.
अभी क्या है ये क्या है
Kamal, please meet everyone. Yeah. So at the same time, we are thankful to all the experts and the evaluators here who has helped us to evaluate these ideas. So I would ask all the volunteers to go through the evaluation sheets. We are still open it for 10 minutes, so you can finalize your marks, and then we will calculate the marks for the final result. In between, we have here Dr. Arun Grover with us, who is one of the eminent personality here in the Tri-City, Chandigarh Tri-City, or in the Punjab, or in the nation as such. We are very fortunate enough to have him in the session today. He's an ex-VC of Punjab University, and he's the one who started Society for Promotion of Science and Technology in India, and also CRICSI to promote innovation in the region. So, Dr. Arun Grover. I think Dr. Arun Grover, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Please share your views and probably your inspiring words before we start the next session at 4:30. Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you, Satendra. I am indeed very happy that you sent me the link to today's session, and I did join it, though I was few minutes late in joining, but I have enjoyed both parts of today's proceedings, the initial panel discussion, and now the presentations by young people. This is what I had dreamed to do when I was serving as a VC, and we had formed this Chandigarh Region Innovation and Knowledge Cluster, a platform which brought all the academic institutions in Chandigarh and Mohali together. It took so long, but I am very happy that things are moving now. There are technology business incubators in different institutions. There is an Atal Incubation Center in a couple of the institutions. Punjab State Council of Science and Technology has joined hands with you, and there other industries are also participating with you. So my best wishes to all of you. Keep this momentum up, and I hope in few years from now, you should be competing with your counterpart in Bangalore or that in Hyderabad. You know, we must start competing with RICH Hyderabad, if not with Bangalore. We can do it. We can compete with RICH Hyderabad if only people like you keep the momentum up. And if the young students from IITs, PEC, ISERs, NITs, and other private universities, we now also have a big player in the form of Laksha University, which has commenced its operations this year. So many good young people are in our region. All they need is guidance and opportunities. Please provide them and make a difference to the economic development of our region. My best wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. And I'm sure with your guidance and blessings, we will make this region as the hub of the startup growth. And with this, I would like to welcome Dr. Shrishti Batra, who is the alumnus of ISER Mohali itself, and she has made her mark in the startup world, so to say. In fact, she has completed her BSMS in 2014 and went on to take a PhD position at NCBS and started her company in the year 2019, which is QSense Labs. She has research experience from across the globe and possesses intricate knowledge in neurobiology and sensory role of olfactory proteins. Her company, QSense Labs, operates on similar lines, providing end-to-end technology solutions for various fresh food operations. And it is recently listed in the Forbes Asia 100 to watch. She's picked by Mammoth Seed Funding and also featured in Shark Tank India. What makes this even more special is the occasion of the National Girl Child Day and how her company is entirely women-led. So she represents women in science, technology, and business all in one. For ISER Mohali students, she's practically, I would say, superhero and an inspiration and a perfect role model. So let's connect with her. And let's go to our next session, an Odyssey from Lab to Laurels, aptly titled to share or to learn from her journey of success. So here we have Dr. Shrishti Batra, the CTO and co-founder of QSense Labs. Please, Dr. Shrishti, it is a pleasure to have you on board here.
Yeah, thank you so much for such kind introduction. I think I feel really happy to be coming back to ISA Mohali almost every time when I'm in Chandigarh. And this time I couldn't. I think COVID has made how things are done differently. So super happy to connect with the community in a virtual format. Today, I think my talk is more of what I have learned in my journey of transition from academia to entrepreneurship. And I'll also share, because I listened to some amazing pitches, some amazing ideas which came up. So I thought I'll give you some inputs on if you're looking into commercializing them, what would be the key things that you should start looking at from an early stage? Because it is better to start early than to iterate later. So I think I'll share my learnings on that, and feel free to interrupt me and ask any questions. Anything related to transitioning from academia, anything related to entrepreneurship, anything relating to the hurdles in a startup. So I think I'll be happy to answer the community and connect with them on those issues, because don't think that it is a silly question or a small question. Any question is a good question. If you don't ask a question, the chances of losing is even higher. So better ask questions, don't hesitate on that. So yeah, I think I would like to share a small presentation, but I think I'm not able to. It has been disabled. Can I? Can you allow me to share the screen?
Now you can share it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you guys can see my presentation. Yeah.
It's visible.
Yeah, so I think I'll just give you a brief outline on my journey of transitioning from ICER to QSense Lab. I joined ICER in 2009. I was the third batch of ICER Mohali when ICER Mohali was not like this as shown in the picture. We were in the transit campus, and I had seen the growth of ICER from scratch. Like this was just a barren land. And then I moved to NCBS in 2014 to do my PhD. Again, in a very new lab, started everything from scratch, started assembling instruments to even getting furniture into the lab. So I have seen that journey both at the ICER and both in my PhD lab of starting something from scratch. And I think that gave me the motivation that I would like to build something from scratch. And that was one big motivation to start QSense Lab. At ICER Mohali, I was in the biology department, and my core was again into the biology and data analytics. I went on doing multiple internships, went to United States for Khurana Fellowship, again did internship in the I actually did that there. I did internship in the cancer treatment building, looking at how drugs work in the cancer treatment. Then I moved to theoretical part where I did my master's for 1 year in the computational biology group and worked on the protein structures. When I went to the NCBS in 2014, I looked into again proteins. Proteins are my favorite thing. So I worked on again on proteins around that time, and worked on the olfactory proteins. How do they transmit signals? How do our brain recognize olfactory signals, the different kind of smells? And that was something very, so sensory biology became very interesting to me at that point. And actually, before transitioning to QSense, I think it was around December or January of 2019, I had a postdoc offer from Harvard. And I was discussing with them the joining date with the fellowship committee. The fellowship committee wanted me to join the Harvard in February 2019. And I think it was the end of January 2019 that I decided that I will enter entrepreneurship. And I decided to say no to the postdoc offer. And it has been an amazing journey since then. I would say that my learnings in my PhD, my learnings in academia and research have really shaped how my team works currently in QSense, and also how we approach problems when we when we come to them. I'll give you a brief on what we do at the QSense first. So at QSense Labs, we are addressing the problem of inefficient fresh food supply chain. So if we look the losses, the wastage, and that's a huge problem in the complete supply chain, and it causes over $15 billion losses. The $14 billion number that you see over here is from 2019 by the government figures, and it has increased from now on. So the major reason is that there is no data being collected. Everything is manual. There is no data-driven mechanism to it. So it's all based on intuition. It's all based on guesswork, or you can say the experience also in certain with certain people. But getting those experienced people is very difficult as well. So the solution that we are offering is a complete platform. We are a deep technology company. We offer a complete platform solution in which we look into the data collection at each stage. We tell the internal quality of fresh produce. We had pitched one of our devices at the Shark Tank as well, in the Shark Tank India, which was this handheld scanner, which tells you the internal quality of the fresh produce. We have another technology which we have integrated into our platform, which is based actually on my experience of my PhD, which is based on the principle of sense of smell, in which we look into the data of different smells that these fresh produce release, and then we look into the internal quality. And the impact that we look into achieving with our technology is reducing the wastage by over 30%, increasing margins and reducing losses, and increasing transparency throughout the supply chain. Okay, then I think I would like to show you one demo of our device as well. So this is from an early stage, 2020. Yeah. Yeah, so as you guys could see in the demo, our device is very simple, one-click device. With the click, you can just know the internal quality, and the bricks feature that you were seeing is actually an industrial feature for the total soluble sugar. So we offer, these are just the basic features that we are offering, we were offering earlier. Now we have incorporated a lot more other features into our products domain. So yeah, so now I think that was a brief of what we do at the QSense. Now I wanted to talk a bit more about the journey itself. So, and also my learnings from this journey. So one thing is that doing business is not easy. So you open up a small shop, you open up a medium shop, you make big businesses. Everything is not easy. Everything is hard. So better do it big. Don't think small, think big, think ambitious, because when you are putting all your efforts, it's better to put in something big. So just think big. And I think I really liked some of the ideas in the pitches were also really ambitious. So I think it is really good to be ambitious in your ideas and pursue them with the hard work. So another thing which I wanted to which has been my major learning is how do we approach an idea? So we have a hunch. Okay, this is something that can be solved. There is a problem. Are we solving a problem? So the first thing is that look for a problem. Which problem are you solving? Another thing is your idea 10x better than current methods being used to solve that problem? Because if your idea is not 10x better, then very unlikely that it will get adopted. So you want your idea, you want whatever you are going to build in your as your startup should get adopted by people, so as to have that scale, so as to be that big. So you always have to look that your idea is big, and the problem that you are solving is also a big problem. But this is, I would say, is an iterative process, because how do you know if you're solving a correct problem? Because you have started from a hunch. So the best solution for that is to how do we identify our problem is to do a mom test. So, which is something that you approach your customers. So always whenever you are thinking of your idea, you are thinking of solving a problem, look who is your customer. Approach them, talk to them. Don't reveal your idea to them. So mom test is something like if you go and tell your mom, I want to do this. What do you think about my idea? Since mom is very nice to you, she will not say that your idea is not good. Nobody is going to say you that your idea is not good. But are they willing to adopt it? So the better thing is instead of telling your idea, you listen to them. You listen to their problem. And that's most important to know, to identify that if you're at the right problem. If you're not, when you're listening to your customer, when you're identifying their pain points, go back and iterate your solution, iterate your idea. So it's an iterative process. So most of the time, with very few of us, I think it would have been very lucky that in the one go we would have got our magic idea. But mostly it comes from the customer side. Then look into how big is the problem, which is your market potential. Like, are there people who will be willing to spend for it? Are there people who want to desperately trying to solve this problem for themselves, which gives you a magnitude that guess you are solving a big problem. Then comes the next steps, which is, as I said, calculate the market potential. If the market is not big enough, then will you reach your 10x scale or a 100x? Because, as I said, doing business is hard. It's not easy. So when you are doing something big, you want to look into the complete potential. Identify the competition. Because it's very important, if you're doing something, there might already be players in that area, in that domain, trying to solve that problem. Then what differentiates you from them? How different are you from your competitors? Defensibility is very important, because at an early stage, why would a customer or why would an investor trust you with your idea or with your competition or with your idea or with your solution? Because they want to see something, somebody else can come and do it. So you have to look into it, why nobody else can do it, why it's only me or us who can do this. So that's very important to differentiate yourself. Another thing is looking into the business model, which is also very important. Like, you want to make money. To be very honest, you have to make money when you are doing business. So that's quite important. And once you start launching your startup, then comes a whole lot of learnings that will be from compliances to legal to again going back to customer, building your product. A lot of things will come, and it's a learning at each stage. Building a team is a big so you cannot be one man's army. When you are looking at a scale, you are building a team. So getting the right people at the right time, it's very crucial, especially at the early stages. Who will be your core team? Who can when you're looking at a core team, you're looking at people who can work on this, who believe in your problem, who believe in your idea, and can make your idea convert into a successful business. So that's very important. And another thing, when you are always thinking on your idea, when you are always thinking about your business, do look in what is your competitive advantage. Because having a competitive advantage is very important. So I'm not saying just in your idea, but in yourself as well. Because at an early stage, you are not a big company with so many employees. At an early stage, it's you and your co-founder, or maybe just a handful of small team working on it. So you have to look into what is your competitive advantage. What is something so unique about you that nobody else can come and replace you? And that would make this business succeed. That's very crucial to identify. And I think we all have our unique edges. We just need to identify it. And I would say a very important learning which I also had, which I have not mentioned over here, is that uh, selling is going to be even harder. In a startup, at every stage, you are selling yourself. Actually, in any career, you are always selling. So selling is a very hard, it's very hard skill. You have to learn it. You have to be able to sell your idea, you have to be able to sell your product, you have to be able to sell your vision. Keep a vision. So just don't stick with one thing that I do this and I identify this is a problem with my product, this can be solved, I just solve it. Look at the bigger vision, because when you are looking at a scale, that vision is going to provide you that scale. So have a clear vision for your company, what you want to be in the next 10 years, let's say. So that's very important. And then once you are building this, so this was all once you know what you are doing. But once you start doing building your product, it's very important that you build what customers want. Don't build something that you know you can build or you have already built. Build something what customers want, what customers will pay for. Build a great product, but again, don't take forever to make it. So make a POC, make an MVP. Like the video I showed you, that is just our first MVP. We have now gone to very finished goods. Over there, you could see that certain things are open circuits. Now we have got a finished good completely in the hands of customer. But how did we reach over there? We reached because once we got the MVPs, we rolled it out to the customers. We took their feedbacks, incorporated the changes, and then finalized our product. Because that's how the process would be. If you go with a finished good, there is no scope for iteration. So go with an MVP, and if your customers are willing to even use that and pay for it and give you feedback, that is a sign that you are solving something really big for them. And again, the questions to keep in mind when you're building something is who will pay for this? That is, who is your customer? And another thing, who will use this? Like, who is the end user? Sometime your end user will be your customer, but not necessarily that would be the case. Sometimes the paying person is different while the user is different. So you have to design your product or service keeping those things in mind. And I would say some of the points to keep in mind always when you are thinking of even starting up is that startups are risky. So be aware of it. There is no denial in that. Startups are risky. There will be a lot of ups and downs, but learnings are always there. And don't be afraid to fail. From failure comes the learning. So it's very crucial you will iterate the next time. Another very important thing is that believe in your idea and startup. Because if you're not believing it, then you cannot get that belief in other person with whom you are talking about it. Be it your customers, be it your investors, be it your, be the key holders in the business, be it your team as well. So it's very important that you believe in your startup and in your business. And that's only the people will believe in it. Another very important thing, there will be times when you will have to take hard calls on strategic pivots. You will have to pivot on certain, maybe the product, maybe the market, maybe how you approach the customer, what is your go-to market strategy. So pivot when required. Don't wait for very long when it is late. It's always it's also a part of time when you are, because the time is really crucial. You don't want to wait for so long that you have lost the opportunity. So also you have to identify the opportunities as it will come in the journey. Another very important thing, and a very, I would say it's a personal advice, which is that startups are 24/7 work. It's not that you can take any day, it's not like a 9 to 5 job. Like you go to office at 9, come back at 5. It's not like that. When it is your own business, you are involved in it 24/7. So maintain a reasonable work-life balance. It's very crucial that you have that you are able to enjoy that instead of making it stressful for yourself. And if you're doubtful of doing your own startup, but you want to have that experience of how it is to take a startup or grow a startup, work with an early stage startup to gain that experience. Because it's okay, like not everybody would like to do one, or maybe not ready to do at any point. So it's very important to do all that analysis for yourself, because it's a personal choice. It's a long commitment and a very risky one that you're putting your bet on. But the risk is worth. So it's a high risk, high reward scenario, I would say. Yeah, so I think I wanted to keep it short so that we have some times for questions. So I think you can ask me anything from my learnings or.
Hello.
Yeah.
I have a question that how do we know that the customer want the product or service we are providing, along with not revealing the complete idea to them? We want to know the reviews. So how do we go along with that?
So for that, this is at the stage where you want to find out if your idea is right or not.
Yeah.
So if you have some idea that, okay, I think this is a problem and these could be my potential customers, just go to them. Don't reveal your idea. Talk to them how their day-to-day life is like, what are the problems they face, and like you're looking at in this industry and you want to understand. So people are actually mostly willing to discuss those things, especially those things which they have really pain points. They would tell you that we are really trying to solve this problem, and then you can go back and see if your idea is actually really solving it. And then if you need to iterate it and then go back to them, and then you can have a more detailed discussions that we think something like this can help you. What do you, because now you understand the problem. So that's where the mom test comes in, which is something that don't reveal. It's more of understanding your customer first. So don't think that how will my idea help them. First, just look into what is their problem.
Okay.
Hi, Dr. Batra. So, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So, since as an ISA student, since you had a career trajectory post your graduation, like a lot of us would do, so how did the timescales sort of played out? So, you were doing your PhD. So, how did you juggle up with starting a startup? How did you manage both of them, or did you start it afterwards? So, what was what experience?
Yeah, I started it during my PhD. I actually defended my thesis at the point when we had raised funds and we were scaling our products and building our products. So I started my company, as I mentioned, around February. I started working on it, February 2019, while I defended my PhD in December 2019. It was at that time actually I was writing my thesis, and to be personally saying, as I said, startup is 24/7 work, and you have to find a work-life balance in between. And so at that point, I was not actually doing experimental stuff in my PhD. I had finished my experimental work, so that load was a bit low. Otherwise, I would, and when I was doing that, I was actually traveling about 3 to 4 hours daily in the Bangalore traffic. And sometimes I would come back to lab and then go in the. So I would say that period of few months when I was working at both the things, I had to really do time management.
I see. That's great.
That was something, the most important thing that I learned. I would leave my house at 6:30 to be in office by 7:38, then work there, come back, work on my thesis, and because I was traveling for about 2 hours one side. So
and secondly, like at the inception of your idea, so where did you get the funding support from, or like what was the initial support when your plan was just in inception and you were just starting out?
So when I was just starting out, actually, I started off in an entrepreneurship program where I met my co-founder, and that entrepreneurship program was backed by VCs. So the successful ideas which came from there with a business case got funded from the VCs, and we pitched to the VC community over there. So that was our initial pre-seed fund at the idea stage. But I would say there are great opportunities. We can even we don't even need to go to VCs at that stage, because you can look into government grants, and grants are equity free. So that is a very big bonus. Like we got DBT's BIREC BIG grant, which is a 50 lakh equity free funding. So I think those kinds of funding at an idea stage, they are at an idea stage. So that's amazing opportunities for companies in biotech domain. Then there are DST scheme, and I think TBI at ISER Mohali can always guide you on different government schemes available to support you at your idea stage, which you can apply to. And mostly they are a small fund, but they are good enough to get you started.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I had a question. Like as you already mentioned that while you were doing your PhD, you started your business, and after your PhD, you got a postdoc opportunity from Harvard. And while you got the opportunity from Harvard University, you must not have been very sure that your business will like grow to the level where it must have been now. So what was the push force like for you to be like going like rejecting that opportunity and going to this thing which you were not sure that will be successful at this point of time? So like
Yeah, I would tell you it was even at an early stage. Like I got the opportunity from Harvard in December 2018 to join them after my PhD. Like I was still doing my PhD at that point, and that was in my penultimate semester that I got that opportunity. And at the same point, I was thinking of transitioning to entrepreneurship. I would say, yeah, Harvard had been the dream place where I would have loved to go. But I was just looking into scenarios in which if I transition into startup, the impact that my research can have. I think I was mostly looking at building that impact, having that impact, not again just going on an individual project, do the research and publish papers. I was mostly looking into taking it to the industry, taking it to a bigger impact. And I think that opportunity, I saw it with startup. And that's where I decided, okay, I want to transition into this and do this.
And ma'am, also, I like this one more question I had. Like, while you were having while you were doing your business, like you must be having this doubt in mind that like you had that opportunity to expand your research thing, but like, were you sure that if you start a business, it will be like expanding and you will be in a great position at some point from now? But if you would have gone into like something that's like a normal vision, like all parents suggest to go into university and do your everything and join a job, you were sure you'll get a normal like life as everyone does. And if you had gone to Harvard, you would have got for sure. But with business, like you must not have been sure that you will get what you want to. Like yes, you can, but like that has a lot of risks, as you mentioned. It's not easy. So what gave you the push force to continue into this field?
I think, as I said, it is high risk, high reward. There had been times I have seen lows, I have seen highs, um, I have seen rejections, I have seen acceptance. I think everything, I have experienced a lot of different, I would say, from experiences to emotions to everything while doing the startup. But I would say it is very satisfying still to push myself and see that, yeah, we are growing. So in the end, you always have to see that you are growing. We have pivoted. We have not strict to just one thing that we thought that will work out. As I said, if you're being very strict of something and you are not pivoting to, the most important thing for me was to see the growth, that we grow. And that I have seen. And it's, to be very honest, it's, when you enter the startup thing, you have to come prepared with it that the startups are risky. And they're quite so risky in the initial stages. So as you scale, you lower your risks. So it's always like taking a small step at each time. Instead of looking at, okay, the really big thing. I think that has been something that has kept me going and has motivated me to stay over here. I think also I see my team, when I see my team working towards different aspects of the cuisines, I really feel motivated by them as well. Because some of them joined us at a very early stage and they could have had amazing careers. But they choose to come to us, join us, and they are growing with us. So I think that is also something that that is very satisfying to look at. Not just my personal growth, but the growth of my complete team. So that keeps me really motivating to taking this business further.
Thank you, ma'am.
So do we have any further questions? I mean, due to paucity of time, we can only take last question. Anyone has any question now? So I think, yes, we are out of questions, but yes, we'll keep on interacting with you, Srishti. It was
Sure,
pleasure today, and it was quite an interactive session. I'm sure the students and the innovators and the researchers here must have learned a bit or two about the entrepreneurship, research-led innovations, and from your journey, they must be inspired to carve their own. And we are looking forward to continue collaboration with you. And probably you can act as a mentor for the budding startups in the campus. So thank you, Srishti, very much. Any last words you want to add?
No, I think I really like interacting with the ISA Mohali community after a long while. Would love to be associated with TBI. And yeah, for any queries, I think you can connect me with the startups or the students who would like to understand this journey more. Yeah.
Thank you, Srishti.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
With this, we'll start our last session of the day with Dr. Dapinder Kaur Bakshi. Ma'am, Dr. Bakshi, you are there? Yes. Okay, great. So I have already introduced ma'am to all of you, and I'll again would like to say that yes, we are very fortunate to have a collaboration with PSCST for most of our events, and this time around also the partnership with the PSCST is going to another level because we'll be launching a program together, which ma'am will talk about. And she is, as a startup facilitator head, as the joint director there at PSCST, she has not only helped the various startups to grow and develop or to in various IP-related issues, but also she has helped in the women empowerment in the region. And that is one of our key achievements, I suppose. And that's really great. So, ma'am, looking forward to your session around. And students and researchers, innovators here, please listen to carefully. She would obviously tell about a very good program for you, which will help your idea to get validated and support from the industry. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Satenderji. I think if you can confirm, I'm audible to you.
Absolutely, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah. So I think amazing session put in together by you and your team. And I think it had a mix of all the ingredients, I must say, starting from the panel discussion by the experts, where they highlighted about all the aspects which really need to be looked upon when the startups are going to start up their journey. So they talked of all the essential things like they talked of the business model, how that is very, very important to look in for the markets, which is there. Also the IPR thing, which they talked about, which is a very crucial ingredient when we are talking of the innovations, when we are talking of the entrepreneurship. They also raised some of the challenges, and one of the very important challenges which was raised was the pilot or the test bedding of the startups. And this is what we are also, many of the startups which are coming, this is the one limitation which they face is when they have to pilot it, they are not able to find the right kind of a platform. And for this also, I would take this opportunity to, because we being the Science Council, we are also looking into this. And recently, you were there at the platform when we have launched, the pilot test bidding of the startups which were selected under the Jancure scheme of NESCOM in the BIRAC. And we have piloted, deployment of their technologies have been from the AIMS Bathinda, which we have started in Punjab. And we would be really very happy to join hands with anybody, even with the TBI, either if you feel that some deployment is required, some real-time deployment is required, then we would really be happy to pitch in and give this platform to the young brigadiers. And followed by the expert panel, we heard various young minds. I could hear some of them, then I had to, go for some time, but very amazing ideas have been put up. Kudos to you all who, participated today and presented your ideas. We'll be also looking into that also. And last but not the least, Shrishti, amazing presentation and amazing words. I think there's a need to have the mentorship from the alumni which are there, who can be of a great. This connect is actually required, because the ones who had their journey, and if they can share their experience with the younger brigade, is very good. And because this type of a mix, when you have the budding startup with the already established startups, so it can be a win-win situation for both, where one can learn from the another, and the second can use the services of the first one. So amazing things happen, said. So I had a small presentation. Satyendra, if somebody can give me the right to share my screen, then
you can share. We have.
Okay, right. I think I've got it. Is my screen visible?
Well, we can see your screen, but your presentation is not open yet. We can see that full folder.
Give me a minute. I'm not very tech person, but I'm just trying to see what I can do.
If there's a concern, you can just send it on mail.
Do I do that? Is it okay?
Yeah, we'll share it from our end. Yeah.
Okay, give me a minute.
Or you can simply WhatsApp me also, if that is mail is the concern.
I think I would be required to send it to you only. I'm not able to share, I think.
Yes, please do send.
Just a minute. I'm sorry for this.
No, ma'am. It's absolutely fine, ma'am. Please.
Just see, Satyendra, if you've got it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just checking.
Did you get it, Satyendra?
Give me a minute, ma'am. It's just refreshing. I have not got it on mail. Have you sent it on mail?
Yes, I also sent it to the TBI manager from where I got this invite.
Okay, ma'am. I have not got my mail ID. Just check, Anshika. Have you got it? Ma'am, in the meanwhile, you can continue the interaction, and we'll share. Yeah. Yes, we have got it.
Okay. So I'll meantime, I'll just talk about this.
Just 1819.
Just a minute. So this is meantime, when the slide is being put, I'll just talk about this one of, like Satyendra said, we are going to launch one program together. This initiative is a very close to our heart, in the sense this is a initiative of a Government of India under the Skill Vigyan and the Accelerate Vigyan initiative, under which a lot of emphasis is being given to the for the skilling of the human. Maybe it's a faculty, maybe it's a students, maybe it's a startups. So we started with this initiative, which we have taken in Punjab, is along with the 10 partner institutions, where the idea was not to have the build a new infrastructure, but to use the infrastructure which is already present in the system, which is already there. So under this, what we have tried to do is, I think, yes, yes. Yeah. So yes, thank you for sharing. Yes, I think we can see it now. Yeah. So the idea for this talk was, like Satendra gave me this, be an entrepreneur and how you can achieve your dreams under the wings of Skill Vigyan Center, which is supported by Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. So we can go to the next slide, please. So very quickly, I just wanted to cover two things under this. The one thing is a question to you, which I don't have to pose to you, but you yourself have to pose to yourself. Are you ready to be an entrepreneur? So that is the first question you should be asking. Do you have that passion within yourself? You really want to break the stereotype of, after doing your master's, PhD, and then you want to apply for jobs, or you want to start up something new, I mean, your own enterprise. So do you have a passion for that? And second, if really your answer is yes, then how this program, which we have for the Skill Vigyan program, can help you. So this is just about the national vision. Why? What is the need? Why there is it? Why? What? This is, I think, a very right time to change your mindset, because as per national vision also, there are a lot of things which are happening. You all are aware that Honorable Prime Minister has given a clarion call for a Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is a self-reliant India, that we do not have to, seek jobs, but we should be on the other side of the system to provide jobs. So can we do that? Do we have that kind of a competence in us? And you have a lot of structures, which are coming, which are supporting Startup India. And parallelly to state, we have a Startup Punjab. You have a national framework for innovation ranking, where there is a lot of hype these days when we are talking of how innovative our economies are, how innovative our India is, how innovative our Punjab is, or our region is. And all the parameters in this is, again, when we are talking of the startups, we are talking of the entrepreneurship, we are talking of the innovations. Matrix for achieving sustainable development goals. So we just celebrated 10th January, this 22 to that of 16th January, the Government of India, along with the Department of Ministry of Industries, CPAM, they celebrated Innovation Week. And the idea was given that this community has to grow, the community of the entrepreneurs, the community of the startups has to grow. So that is why this celebration was there all across the India. And it's a very happy thing that 16th January also has been designated as the National Startup Day. So idea for this slide was that many things are happening. If you are really thinking of joining this bandwagon, so the idea is that a lot of things are happening. There are a lot of initiatives which are already being taken, and we can use, we can exploit, we can leverage these platforms to our benefit to make this happen. Next slide, please. So with this only at the state level also, a lot of things are happening. We at the Punjab State, I represent Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. We have launched Mission Innovate Punjab, and idea is again to work on those brackets. We want to enhance competitiveness, boost growth, create quality employment, and nurture the ecosystem of Punjab. We can have next slide, please. So under this only, today, talking of a Skill Vigyan Center, which we have set up with the support of Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. For students, we are offering two programs in this. One is a student training program, and the second is an entrepreneurship development program. So before I take up for the entrepreneurship development program, a little bit about also student training program. Why? Because we have been joined by the student community of ISA. So just want to tell you that there is this scheme under which, if you belong to a biology, life sciences, and in the pharma division, that if you are wanting to have the skill, the skill sets which can make you industry employable, we are running one such kind of a program. And under this, our call is open, for which the courses which are designated or which are aligned with the National Skill Development Ministry, they are being offered, and there is a total hand-holding and hands-on training which is provided for the 3 months, and there's a stipend of 5,000 rupees under this. For this, you can approach me. There is at end of the presentation, there is my mobile number and the mail. But coming to the main, which Satinder also talked, that we are also running the entrepreneurship development program. What is this? We can have a next slide for this. So under this entrepreneurship development program, we are looking for young professionals or young students like you who want to set up on their own enterprise. What are we looking for? We are looking for the 5 C's. So if you feel yourself in the bracket of you have a creativity, like we have listened to, that any kind of innovation which can make a difference, it doesn't have to, your prototype or your product has not to be, you know, the traditional or the one which is actually running, but if it has an innovation, if you have a creativity. Secondly, if you have a competence about it, competence you are ready to do a lot of experimentation, because when you are nurturing your innovation, lot of experimentation has to be done. There are a lot of, you know, permutation combinations which are to be applied. Lot of time is taken. So if you have that kind of a competence, you have a confidence that you want to move ahead, then yes, you have a clarity. What do you want to do? And you have a commitment to do. Then you can join our team under this, you know, this program. Next. So what are we going to offer you to strengthen your entrepreneurial skill? We are going to provide you the motivation. We are going to have a panel of experts which are going to provide you mentorship. We are going to provide you the synergies. We're going to provide you the Industrial Institute and Incubator Connect. There is going to be a skill enhancement and the technological empowerment. So this is a mix, what we are going to provide you under this entrepreneurship development program under the Skill Vigyan Center. Next. Next slide. So what is the strategy? So PSCST is joining hands with the incubators like we have done with the ISA TBI, ISA Mohali. We are joining hands with the institutions and we are joining hands with the industry. And all the, you know, all this pool, which is going to be having the experts from all the domains, is going to nurture or is going to, you know, what do you say? Not only nurture you, but also provide all the kind of a facilitation support which you require to set up your enterprise. Next. Next slide, please. So what do we bring on a platform? So if you have some, it's not an idea only what is going to work over here, but there is some small prototype, some process which you have worked on in the lab or which you have got some sort of a preliminary idea, preliminary results, which you feel can work. And you have also studied the other parameters that it is innovative, it has some market, it can work for you. Then this is a kind of a right platform for you. Under this, structured 6 months rigorous training program will be provided. So it is all the 3 kind of verticals which are going to be provided: industry, institute, incubator. For example, you are working on some sort of, I'll just give an example on the food processing, some sort of a process you have done. Now you want to validate it, you want to scale it, you want to see how much is the shelf life you want to do, and that you want to do maybe in the incubator setup, maybe in the institution setup or the industry setup. So these things will be provided by us. It provides you the scholarship of the amount of 10,000 rupees per month, which will be for a selected candidate because we have a bracket of 6 months only. Another thing is because this aims more on the industrial training. For example, you are into some sort of a prototype development or the process and you require some industrial training where your skills can be, you know, sharpened up by the industry. You look up to that industry and that kind of the industrial training fees, which is to be paid for this 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, this will be paid by the Skill Vigyan Center. That is to the tune of 50,000 rupees per candidate for these 6 months or whatever the duration is going to be there. So mentorship support for the DPR preparation, for your enterprise startup creation, for your prototype development, for marketing and legal aspects will flow through this platform. Next. Next, we have already covered. So now these are your sectoral domains. So basically we are promoting more of a tech-led startups and the domains because this is a biotechnology funded, program. So more we are looking for people who are into the food technology, in the environmental technology, in the life sciences, or any kind of engineering in this when we talk of the biotechnology. So if you have your process idea into these domains, so this platform is the right choice for you. Next. Next. So join us if you're interested. So if you're interested to set up your own enterprise in 6 months' time, you have a bachelor's or master's degree in science, technology, engineering, any student can apply. If you're incubator of academic or other incubator, then also you can join this platform, and age is 18 to 35 years. Next. So this is our model, what we propose over here. So in this model, this is you. You have got some prototype, idea, whatever the small processes there, you have some, then you will approach TBI-ISER for this. Satyendraji is going to be a node for this. So we can have a bracket period of 7 days or 10 days. We can work in coordination with each other. This period can be made open. He will be your node and he will be your support for guiding you how to go about it. So once you are with the TBI-ISER, we can have the timelines and all, and hand-holding is provided by the TBI-ISER. Then we will jointly have the pitch session. There will be selection of the candidate. Once a selection of the candidate is there, then that candidate will be put in for whatever the kind of training or whatever kind of a training he requires for the institution. Or for example, right now we have a Sant Longowal institution who is more into the food processing and all. So that is our partner, but we can also place you in the other institution also. And then for the industrial training, we will be placing you in the industry which is of relevance. And then we will be coming out with the DPR. Next slide. Next slide. So this is a kind of things which are going to be offered. You will have technological mentorship, entrepreneurial mentorship. I've just jotted down few of the things which will be offered. For example, in technological, if you are a food-based buyer, any kind of a support you require for food processing, bioengineering, fermentation, value chain, that will be provided. For entrepreneur, how to build your potential team, develop business model, how to pitch, how to assess your market for that will be there. Next slide. These are some of the startups which we are working with. You can see Rootworks, Gormesia Greens, Microfood, Devita, ThinkEye Technologies, Black Eye Technology, ThinkWave Technologies. And so these are just to give you a glimpse. Next slide, Carlo. So these are already the young partners with which we are working from the EDP. Some of them are working in supply chain management, some in IoT-based farming services, some in food nutraceuticals, post-harvest handling, and community-based biogas. So these are the pictures of the entrepreneurs who have joined us under this EDP scheme. Right, next. So we invite synergies and partnerships. Not only we invite the ideas and the invites the ideas from your side, but we also invite industry or enterprises who wants to join, because we listen in the morning from the other startups also. So if you want to join hands under this, we would be really happy to be a part. Incubators, TBI-ISER has already joined, some institutions and aspiring startups. Next. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just my phone number, just in case you want to have any, I will be answering you any of the query you have from your side. So this is my email and this is my phone number. You can write down, and now I would, it's open to any kind of questions, but before that, I would also ask Satyendraji to comment on this joint partnership which we want to undertake for the Skill Vigyan Center. Over to you, Satyendraji.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Bakshi. It was quite a detailed presentation, and they have got, I think the audience here has got the clarity regarding the support PSSCST can provide to the budding entrepreneurs. Now, coming to the specific program which we are talking about, where you will get a stipend of 10,000 rupees for 6 months and the industry support. We have a set application format. We will be circulating to you all by Monday morning. And by 30th of this month, we will be, by 30th of January is the deadline. We'll be accepting the applications from ISER Mohali students, faculty, researchers who are interested, or basically students, sorry, I'll just correct myself, for the students. So for the students, the deadline is 30th Jan. By that, you need to submit that application. In between also, you can connect with me or any of our team members at TBI ISM Mohali if any kind of mentoring or guidance support you require with respect to filling of that form. Once you submit that form by 30th of January, then we will see or scrutinize at our incubator level. And then the shortlisted ones, we will take it up with PSCST for the final pitching session. So 30th Jan is the first deadline. Later on, once we shortlist them, then we'll connect with the PSCST. And now we are open for questions with Dr. Bakshi. Are there any questions from Dr. Bakshi now about this program? So anyone from that? So I think
there's no much science in this. They understand that what kind of services we are offering, and I think when they come to you with their ideas and with their pitches, you'll be able to mentor them. And we can also have a joint session before, before selecting and before finalizing. We can do that one session also, and I think that's good enough from our side. Yeah.
Great. I think Kamal has a question. Kamal, yes.
Hi.
Yes, Kamal.
How do I? Just a second, there's an echo. So that one's not on.
Kamal, you can write down your question in the chat box. I think now the participants are just waiting for the results. I think participants are waiting for the results, so that's why it's yeah. So Kamal is writing the question on in the chat box because there's some audio issue. So participants, now after this session, we'll announce the results. So I think that is one of the reasons not many people are asking the questions. They're eagerly waiting for the results. Just let us see. Yeah. Yeah. So here's written. Could you just clarify at what level does an idea have to be able to apply for the entrepreneurship program, and are there any prerequisites for the student training program?
Kamal, as I've already said, that it is the ideas will not be, support. If you just have an idea, right, without any, preliminary results or without any preliminary some prototype, then it will not be, because that comes into a, the first category. This is a second category. For example, you're doing your master's or PhD. You already have some sort of a, experimental setups where the database is there, where the results are there, and you find them very, very promising, which can be taken further. So such kind of ideas will be there. And the second thing is, I've also mentioned about the domains. It will be more of the biology, biotechnology, food processing, engineering, environmental engineering. So any kind of the course which, reflect towards your biology side. So in that, we will be able to support such kind of startups. And if there is any student, BSc, Masters, PhD can apply, provided they're in the final year, because otherwise it will be difficult for them to undergo the 6 months of training. And the second is, we have also given the age in the bracket of 18 to 35 years. Any kind of startup who's there already registered with the ISER Mohali is also eligible for this. They can come. We can decide on their incubation period, like 6 months, how to place them and where. So that can be worked out. I hope I was able to answer your query, Kamal.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Bakshi.
Okay.
And with this, I would like to conclude this session. And really, I'm grateful to you for your time and your inputs and guiding the budding entrepreneurs here or the students here. They need that kind of guidance as well as support system that PSCST is providing.
Don't thank me, Satinder. We will be doing many more programs like this in the future. So you can reserve your thanks for that. So we are working for startup community, and we will be doing that. So thank you so much for this platform. Yeah. Okay.
I'm really looking forward to further such collaborations and programs together. Now, participants, we have come to the end of the Idea-Phied event per se, but this is just the beginning, I suppose, for the new era of innovation and entrepreneurship in the campus. And now we are announcing the winners. But before that, I would really like to thank the experts. All of us they have taken time out of their busy schedule, that too on the weekend with such a weather, and they are really great. As in, few of them are actually not keeping well, still they joined. So we are really grateful that they have given their valuable inputs during this session. So all the panelists, and then Dr. Shrishti Batra and Dr. Dapinder Kabakshi, we are really very thankful to you. At the same time, we are thankful to our partners here who have helped us to organize this event, including Punjab State Council of Science and Technology, Chandigarh Angels Network, Entrepreneurship Cell. It's a student-managed cell in the campus itself, and specifically Mr. Kamal Pani, Mr. Shruti Singh, Ms. Shruti Singh, and Mr. Gokul. Also, I would like to extend my thanks to the executive board members of the TBI, which include faculty members like Professor Anand Bachawat, Dr. R. Vijayanand, Dr. K.P. Singh, Dr. Amit Kulshresht, and our registrar, Professor Jagdeep Singh. Also, the team of TBI, which is a very small team. We only have a manager over here with me, which is Anshika. And she has really handled and coordinated well for the event. Also, I would like to thank the director, sir, Professor Gauri Shankar, and registrar, sir, Professor Jagdeep, for constantly supporting our initiatives and guiding us. The governing council, of course, we have eminent personalities like Dr. R.S. Jolly, Dr. Arun Grover, and governing council of TBI ISR Mohali, and they have been here for the whole session. We are very fortunate to have them on the board of TBI ISR Mohali. And finally, all the participants and the students, faculty, researchers of ISR Mohali who have shown great enthusiasm for this event. We have got overwhelming registrations for this event and participation today. So thank you, everyone. Looking forward to more better future, which will be enlightened by the entrepreneurship zeal of the students and researchers and innovators here. So now we have the results with us. So without much ado, I'll just go to the results. So can you please move to next slide? So the thing is that earlier we have decided to give 3 prizes as per the event. There were only first, second, first winner, first runner-up, and second runner-up. Only 3 prizes were supposed to be given, but we have actually liked few more ideas. So we have decided to give some of the ideas consolation prize. The details which will be circulated later, but I would really like to mention those ideas here and appreciate their efforts. So the consolation prize winners are Team Sunlight DTH and Biosensor for Organophosphates by extending the genetic code, which is Team BioOrg. So Team BioOrg and Team Sunlight DTH, congratulations and all the best. Keep innovating. Next is the second runner-up. Now I mean to say that for us, all the startups, our ideas were great, and out of this, selecting just the few was a tough challenge for the committee as such, and the numbers are pretty close. If you see the total score is pretty close, but unfortunately we have to select a few only in this sense. But others, please don't get disheartened, and TBI ISR Mohali is always there to support you guys. So second runner-up is Team The Dog Side. Congratulations to you guys. The first runner-up is Team Frugi. And finally, the winner of the Idea-Phied is Team Navi. So congratulations to all the winners. And with this, we end the event on a high note. any of the from the participants or audience wants to share anything, they can tell us now, or they can speak now, and then we conclude it. So good, great guys. All the best. Keep innovating, keep growing, and thanks everyone once again. So with this, we are concluding the session. Bye-bye.